they gaze upon Yosemites.
So we're going to get it going to a level that nobody can ever turn course on us, nobody can ever change. Free health care for illegal immigrants.
You're gonna fret.
He meant explosive in terms of fire.
De-engineering. We have to slam it. Who wants people coming in from foreign countries? We're going to be a country no more. I actually think it will not. It will be a country no more.
Sometimes I forget how good that one is.
Action replays in magnified form. We're going to be a country no more. I actually think it will not. It will be a country no more.
Hi everybody. So I come down and my computer was oddly shut off, and then I just I'm like, oh shit, and it takes a moment for because I think there was like an update, some sort of a restarty situation, which is what is this? I've got an alert over my face. Everything's all over the place. It's a mess. What are we gonna do? How can we do it? And while I'm in the process, as it were, the there it is. How about you? What are you doing? Let's put you up here. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I need all the help I can get. But I thought, maybe there was an update or something while I was, sleeping or something last night, and that's why the computer restarted and all that stuff. So I started up, and I'm running a little bit late, but I'm okay. All right, shit happens. Excrement occurs, as we like to say around here. And I'll be goddamn if I wasn't talking to nobody for like 3 minutes. I was like starting the show up, and I go over and I finally go to the chat to throw to you guys, and I'm like, hi chat, let's see what's happening. Crickets. And then I look down at the bottom of the screen, which is, I'll slide this up and you guys can see. Down at the bottom here, I can see the number of sites that are connected and the number of people watching. And right now I think I'm fairly, 54.8. We're so close to 55. Come on, 55. I can't drive 55. But I can. I'm very excited. I'm sorry. That was too loud. I'm I know that my Getty scares some people's cats, so I'm afraid that my Sammy will scare someone's dog, but it happens. Anyways, we're getting so close. Just subscribe for fuck's sake. The idea that there are these other dipshits out there that have millions of subscribers. I mean, we all know they're fake, but I'd like to at least get in the ballpark with real ones. I'm literally, am I the only person with just like the only real people on YouTube? Is that what it is? 100,000 is right around the corner. It is. It's a long corner, but I agree. So hello everybody. Hi. Yes, thank you. And share out the show. Yes, remind everybody out there that they got to share out and all that kind of stuff. And I will at some point. I hope we hope. Let's see. What am I missing here? So there's this one, this one, this one, and this one. So there's technically four. Oh, because Shitter isn't responding back anymore. That's why I said, aha. We'll figure that out at some point. At some point, I'm gonna add a live channel. These are you want to see my options, and you guys can help me pick one out because we're gonna have to find a replacement for Shitter at some point. Look at these guys. Look at this stuff. I can all these things. I guess I could do Amazon Live, and I could just sell stuff. Just go. This is fabulous. As fart megaphones go, a little more variety might be helpful. And 2 buttons, one for a short or a long one, would be helpful to help divide. But other than that, I mean, you really can't go wrong. It's a fabulous gift. Don't forget to use our promo code if you can figure out how to spell it. There's LinkedIn. I think that's fucked up, but I'm for it. Telegram, nightmare. Instagram Live I think that's going to come on live sometime soon. And I do have a Daily Motion account, although no one is there. There's no one there. And then the rest of these are all like European and that kind of shit. So we'll figure it out. At some point, that's going to be an option. One of those other channels. And I'm not going to, like, Kick is there, but Kick is Twitch and Twitch is Kick and Quick is shit. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yes, that's how you spell it. Thank you, Spherical Man. Thank you. 100,000 subscribers next year's Hal's birthday party, hopefully sooner. Luis, you're absolutely right. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Oh, God. We'll just, very excited, you know.
Some people agree and many people don't agree, but I think most people very much agree.
This is true. So, regardless, like, subscribe, show your support in any way that you can. The Venmo is there in case you want to help us with the computer fund. We are, I would say we're officially, semi-officially, partially officially. I'm going to go with 2/3 of the way there. Yeah, we're 2/3 of the way to our goal. So, if you want to, you know, if everybody in the chat right now put $10 in, we could buy it this afternoon. But if we, there you go. You're hooked on me. Well, thank you, Luma. I'm glad I'm addictive to some degree. And by the way, jump back in here and say hi to you guys. Again, like I said, like, subscribe, support the show, blah, diddy blah. I'm making a lot more changes in the show visually. I may make it so that the morning show moves and the afternoon show is still for some people who who find the background disconcerting. I would like to say for the record that every background on every square background on MSNBC moves. I'm just saying. So there. Now I also understand that they're actually in a giant room and this is like right up against me, but I still think it looks cool. But either way, I'm going to rotate them. They won't be always the same one. So hopefully you won't get bored. Because I'm going to set a little, like, so we can tell our days apart. Yeah, I know, I'm getting a little crazy. But until we can get the big jump, I'm making little tweaky changes. Oh, thank you, Luma. Thank you, Maria. Or if it's Mariah, bring her, put her in the back of the Mariah. Will your Thursday show go back to its regular time? Yes, it will. Well spotted. It will be indeed at 4 p.m. Pacific time this week, and off we go. Bessie, I have no puppy. All right, let's get into the show tonight because there's a lot to cover. There's a bunch. We have a lot to cover, and a lot of it. We're gonna visit some old friends, folks. There's some folks that we're gonna take a look at today that we haven't dove into in a little while, and consider yourself forewarned. But we gotta jump into just like what helps is that occasionally this dipshit will kind of put everything in one lump, so we can get like 3 hits on 3 idiotic takes at once. And of course, I'm talking Rusty Trombone himself, who is giving classes to Ben Shapiro on how to make the worst, silliest thumbnails. Fucking hell. Also, we're gonna pay a little attention to Cenk Uygur, who apparently says that we're underestimating Trump again, which is, by the way, his way of supporting Trump by saying, well, Trump's a winner. You can't fight that. Instead of spending his time. This is like when economics people go, you know, it's funny that people don't realize how well Bidenomics is actually doing for the economy. People just aren't aware of it. If you ask the person on the street, like, motherfucker, aren't you an economics journalist? Shouldn't you just write about it? You're supposed to write about the actual economics, right? Not about how people feel about what you didn't write, I would think. Does that occur to anybody? Okay, so anyways, we'll talk about this. And then, of course, Jesse Waters, who is, of course, the stretch Ben Shapiro. And Chip Roy, who is apparently very angry about the fact that people are noticing that border crossings are down. But first, we begin with Kevin McCarthy. Now, this is the man who, at some point, is going to have to bring forth impeachment proceedings against Joe Biden. If it ever happens, it'd be because this dickhead put them forward. And okay, first of all, it's a desperate ploy, obviously, to make people think of him as a serious leader. We know this. But at the same time, honestly, the worse the case gets against Biden, as far as just it falling apart, the louder he gets, which means he knows he's got an out. This is McCarthy. What foreign policy expert does business with Ukraine, China, rather than UK, Italy? Okay. First of all, Trump was doing business with the fucking Saudis and China, and he'd have a fucking Trump Tower Pyongyang if he could. Level 4 hype train. Thank you guys on Twitch. Love you guys. Now, this is his argument in theory that what makes it sketchy is that they're not making business deals with the UK and Italy specifically. Now, Trump has no deals with the UK or Italy, nor did he make any trade deals or really push for anything. If anything, he stiff-armed them. He did, however, kiss Vladimir Putin's ass and slow walk any sanction that we had towards him and minimize them as much as possible. And received a payment of $17 million in his Chinese bank account while he was president, 2017. And took $15 million of it out that night. Now, do we know it was Donald Trump who made the withdrawal? No. More than likely it was Eric, because it was either Trump or Eric, because both of them pled the fifth over 400 times. Now, let's get into why this is hinky, because who the fuck tries to, like, work in Ukraine? I don't know.
Now, it might help if certain reporters actually knew anything about the impeachment process. Anyway.
Well, I know a lot about it. I watched both of them, and had Trump not had senators running interference, he would have been bounced from office, and we wouldn't be dealing with most of this shit.
Here with more, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is with us. Mr. Speaker, great to have you. Why isn't it, maybe you should explain for the rest of the media what the difference is between an inquiry and an actual impeachment.
Yeah. Break it down for us. Because, I mean, what are you waiting for? It's an ironclad case. I read that today. It's an ironclad case. This is rock solid. All the evidence. James Comer said that Biden has broken an outrageous number of crimes. Outrageous! So, at some point, wouldn't it be easy? It kind of goes back again to that stack of 1,000 affidavits that apparently Rudy Giuliani had, but would never read in public. Why wouldn't he read them into the record? Maybe out of the 1,000, maybe just take the ones that are germane to the state that you're in, like Georgia, or when he showed up in fucking Pennsylvania or Arizona or anything. Just take those and just go, rather than make an opening statement, rather than make an argument, what I'm going to do is read into the record 25 of our 100 affidavits from this about people who were denied their vote or their vote wasn't counted or any of that shit. Wouldn't that, I mean, if you got a stack of 1,000, that would be easy, right? And if the Bidens have broken every crime in the book and they just try me crime, it should be pretty easy. Like, fuck, with Trump in the documents case, he's on tape saying he did it. That's not even work for me.
And what you mean by the apex of power.
Well, thank you for having me on, Sean. And just so everybody understands, when Congress, it's our role and constitutional responsibility.
I'm just a dick. Yes, I'm only a dick. And I'm sitting here with Sean, who's a prick. And I will break down the story so it sounds really confusion, and try to teach you about it, but I think I've got a tumor because I can't remember what I started to say. An impeachment inquiry? No way. I'm just a dick. Yes, I'm.
For oversight, to have investigations. We just don't go out and think of these investigations. We have.
All right, first of all, no one's accusing you of thinking. Secondly, what you mean is make them up.
Have people from the IRS.
But that can I just point out that Freudian slip is amazing, considering who's saying it, because the fact that when he means fabricate something, make something up out of whole cloth, the word that comes to mind is think. Everything he thinks is bullshit.
Came forth with information. We have President Joe Biden, who told us when he's running that they received no money from China and he had nothing to do with his business. We've now found that no, we've had.
Well, with Hunter's business, yeah, he's everybody's got. I have a lot to do with my business.
Had informants that the FBI pays who came and said that they think it's pay to play with the Bidens. We've now found.
Oh, do you? Who would that be? Oh, you mean Rudy Giuliani? He was a trusted source around 9/11.
Found that the Biden family created 20 shell companies. Why?
Not what? Not 20 shell companies. Hold on. Okay, I don't go too far into it. Here we go. Trump campaign shell corporation funneled $617 million, according to reporting based on CLC complaint. Earlier this year, Campaign Legal Center filed a complaint with the Federal Election Committee alleging that the Trump campaign laundered $170 million in spending to conceal payments to people close to the Trump family and campaign. He made a campaign shell company. Oops, Jared Kushner reportedly created a shell company to secretly pay Trump family members and spend half the campaign's cash. Remember that? Oh, Trump's shell spending scheme comes under DOJ scrutiny. Special counsel Jack Smith appears to have set his sights on a number of Trump's vendors, and there's plenty to look into. Former President Donald Trump's Save America PAC raised tens of millions of dollars on false claims of election fraud, and now the feds want to know how it was spent. On Sunday, the New York Times reported that special counsel Jack Smith's team has subpoenaed a vast array of Trump vendors, posing questions related to how money was paid to other vendors, indicating that they were interested in whether some entities were used to mask who was being paid or if the payments were for genuine services rendered. While the details of Smith's inquiry are unknown, we do have something of a roadmap. The report from the January 6th House Select Committee, along with publicly available Federal Election Commission and IRS filings, can shine a light on some of those vendors, offering some insight into what may have caught the DOJ's eye. But the shell companies, okay, get out of here. Insight, how a Trump deal got a boost from a Chinese-based financier. What? A China-based financier, once reprimanded by U.S. regulators and barred from taking his company public, played a bigger role than is publicly known in the shell company that agreed to merge with former President Donald Trump's new social media venture, Truth Social. That's right. Chinese shell company, Truth Social. Yes. Little has been disclosed about the involvement of the financier, Abraham Sinta, and the Shanghai-based investment bank he leads, ARC Group Limited. In the shell company's regulatory filings, ARC is listed as financial advisor to Digital World Acquisition Group, the special purpose acquisition company SPAC that signed the deal in October to merge with Trump's new media platform, which, by the way, is in deep shit and failing miserably, and they weren't supposed to know where the money was going so that investors wouldn't know where they were putting their money. So anybody who bitches about insider trading, first talk to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who invested in the SPAC more than likely before she knew, even, was allowed to know that the money in the SPAC was going to Trump's company. Now, new information, text messages, a financial document outlining proposed terms of the shell company, an agreement between ARC and one of Digital World's creators, and interviews with 5 sources familiar with the situation shows that Sinta and ARC did not just advise Digital World, they offered money to create Digital World and recruited an executive to help put the company together. ARC offered to provide at least $2 million to 3 businessmen to form Digital World, the SPAC that went on to merge with Trump Media and Technology Group. And Sinta had a say in how the SPAC's management team would be compensated, according to the financial document and text messages between Sinta and others involved. I can't wait to see what role Tony Bobulinski has in the company. He'll make a great VP. Meanwhile, Trump shell company faces SEC investigation. Digital World said it would receive preliminary fact-finding inquiries in late October and early November. That's right. Here comes the next run of stories. I'm just saying, everybody got that? The SPAC. Yeah. So that's just 2 shell company, SEC violations, and engagements in criminal behavior. That I just thought it'd be good that everybody, if you guys knew that.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
That's well, that is true. In the meantime, though, let's see. There was one more. What Trump's disclosure of his 500 LLCs can and can't tell us. What Trump's disclosure of his own can tell us about his income and his business. President Donald Trump's latest financial disclosure includes details on the 500 or so. I'm sorry. That's rude of me. I've been saying 500 LLCs this whole time that he has personal ability to sign off on. I think he needs Weiselberg for the other 1,000. 500 or so limited liability companies he owns and their revenue. But what exactly is an LLC, and does disclosing the numbers provide more or less information about Trump's businesses? Trump uses a bevy of LLCs to house and manage his assets, as many wealthy individuals and businesses do, particularly in real estate. The Mar-a-Lago Resort is owned by Trump under an LLC structure. So are his golf courses, licensing deals, one of his helicopters, and some of his bank accounts. That's right. Donald Trump has LLCs for some of his bank accounts. So remember that, because if they're saying like the whole Biden family has like 20 LLCs all together, everybody who's in business, everybody who's tried to start an Etsy business, they all got an LLC or they're incorporated. It's fucking Delaware, the incorporation state. It's almost like saying you know how to make peach pie if you live in Georgia. But I love that. Some of his bank accounts. Some. Yeah, that's terrific. Can this dickhead just not make this easy for me, please? You guys are wonderful, by the way. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Who has 20 LLCs? Well, Trump has 500. He has more for just bank accounts than all the Bidens put together. How about that? The Trump crime family.
He was vice president, that he received 16 of 17 payments from Romania while he was vice president. The family paid all the way.
Why? Sorry. That wasn't really English. I don't. Could anybody make out?
It's not Irish. It's not English.
How are you? Fair, what is my contest for the horses,
It's just pikey.
Payments from Romania was a play with the Bidens. We've now found that the Biden family created 20 shell companies.
Yes, Trump has 500 of his own and over 1,500 under the Trump organization alone.
He was vice president, that he received 16 of 17 payments from Romania while he was vice president. The family paid all the way down. Well,
Why he was the family paid all the way down? Okay, I'm sorry. I should have understood. I should have understood that. Yeah, that was English, sort of.
You have all these questions, and you have.
Yeah, and tell you what, I love your questions. When you have some fucking answers, what's in Romania? I have no idea. Like, they don't either.
Have an attorney general who says one thing, and IRS whistleblowers coming forth saying something else. You want to know who's lying and what's the information. I would.
Okay, how about this? You have information from both. You've looked at information from both. Where's the crime? It should be fucking easy. If it's this much, again, hyperbole is not your friend the way it was in 2016.
I think the Biden family would want to know that. When you move to an
what?
IRS whistleblowers coming forth saying something else, you want to know who's lying and what's the information. I would think the Biden family would want to know that.
They do. That's why they're saying this is all nonsense.
When you move to an impeachment inquiry, it empowers Congress, Republicans and Democrats, within their subpoena to be able to get the answers they need. Because we have found time and again, we haven't seen anything like this since the Nixon administration.
Well, no. Actually, we've seen a lot like this twice over the last president. Like, you just didn't give a fuck about Trump's taxes and all that kind of stuff.
Using their government to shut down any time we had a question. I would think the Biden family
Using what?
Government to shut down.
No. Say that whole sentence again.
Anything like this since the Nixon administration.
That part I understood. We haven't seen anything like this since Nixon. This has nothing to do with Nixon. As a matter of fact, this is, I would say, I'm trying to think, Iran-Contra? I'm trying to think of something outside of the presidency that because there's no break-in. Nobody's accusing Biden of a break-in, and they're not accusing him as of doing extrajudicial killings during his presidency. So we're going to have to go back to the 1800s.
Using their government to shut down any time we had a question. I would think the
using their government to shut down any time we had a question.
Time and again, we haven't seen anything like this since the Nixon administration. Using their government to shut down any time we had a question.
Okay, all right. I thought I'd be able to make sense of it. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Huh? The government, I think. But using the government to shut down it, you're in the government. You've been in the government. They didn't shut down you asking any it's so confusing.
I would think the Biden family would want to clear their name. I mean, if President...
Their name is fine. You're the one trying to dirty it up. This is like saying that... What's an analogy that won't horrify? Trying not to exaggerate it too much into the criminality that the former president himself is. Well, let's look at that. One would think, maybe this is where he gets it from, that whenever Trump is confronted by an accusation by someone that he has allegedly sexually assaulted, his response is to shit on that person. And just deny everything. And so I suppose they're expecting a similar behavior from Biden, because if he's not doing that, if he's not shitting on the person, attacking on him, or just not commenting, that in and of itself is an admission of guilt.
Biden told us ahead of time they'd never got any money and that Hunter Biden was the smartest person he knew. But now we found out that he attended dinners, and after one dinner at Cafe Milano, they got $3.5 million from a Russian oligarch.
No. She invested her money. Rosemont Seneca invested it on her behalf. They didn't just get the money. She didn't just go, here's $3.5 million. See ya. Write me back when the spouses of Moscow mayors can now buy agricultural property close to military bases in the United States if you become president.
Who didn't get sanctioned after they entered Ukraine. And then we found that Hunter got a Porsche. These are questions you...
Okay, hold on. Back up. They didn't get... Who didn't get sanctioned?
$5 million from a Russian oligarch who didn't get sanctioned after they entered Ukraine. And then we found...
Yeah, she wasn't making profit. Her husband was the corrupt oligarch. That was her bug out money.
That Hunter got a Porsche. These are questions you have to understand.
Yeah, because she made a lot of money on his and Archer and Heinz Kerry's kids advice.
And why? And why did the government allow the statute of limitations to run out on Hunter Biden?
Well, first of all, it's statute of limitations. There is no statute of limitations. And if there was, it would obviously be of Donald Trump's penis, and it would be so small you wouldn't be able to see it.
Biden,
just be like, why is there just a platform here? I'll tell you later.
They don't do that to the American public. The IRS makes you sign a waiver to extend the statute of limitations so it will not run out. But why are they being treated differently? And we should know the answers to these questions that empower.
Well, I think it's, you know what? We need a baseline. Right now, all we're hearing about is the fact that Hunter Biden paid more in taxes than Donald Trump did. My question is that, and you know, if you want to know the answers to some of your questions, you go to an expert. And Donald Trump has told you, you've got him on speed dial. He's told you multiple times that he knows all about the tax code, how to make money on it. And he's just playing by the rules. He knows every rule. And he and Alan Weisselberg can thread the needle perfectly so they don't do anything technically illegal and stay within it. And if you want to know, I would call him up right now and ask him if he's ever been extended that kind of a courtesy by the IRS. Beyond the $74 million tax refund he did not deserve, that he's been in litigation about because he had already spent it by the time they realized he shouldn't have gotten it. Oh, one second, hold on. Sorry, it was, let's see, 70. What I'm talking about here, the Trump's $73 million tax refund stuck with little-known panel. Staff of Joint Committee on Taxation scrutinizes big refunds. Reviews by committee established in 1920s after controversies. This was in 2020. The details published about Donald Trump's tax returns were a revelation to the public, but not to a small group of attorneys who work for a little-known congressional panel. Trump has been in the middle of a dispute with the IRS over a 2010 claim of a $73 million tax refund, according to the New York Times, which obtained more than 20 years of the president's tax data. The size of the refund claim brought it before the Joint Committee on Taxation. Where there is a proposed refund of more than $2 million for individuals and $5 million for corporations proposed, the committee staff reviews it before payment by the IRS. Part of the rationale for such reviews is to make sure tax laws are working the way Congress intended. In Trump's case, the IRS initially sent an audit for the refund to the Joint Committee in 2011, and an agreement was reached in 2014, but an expanding audit meant the IRS resubmitted the refund documentation for review in 2016, where it sat unresolved since then. Trump received what tax professionals refer to as a quickie refund, a check processed in 90 days on a tentative basis, pending an audit by the IRS, and then they sat on it. How normal is that? He got a quickie refund for $73 million. And they're like, well, but, don't cash it because we got to check a couple of things. The committee staff reviewed between 470 and 370 proposed refunds per year from 2015 to 2018. Most of the proposed refunds involve net operating loss carryback provisions in which a business uses losses in one year to offset profits in another, sometimes resulting in refunds of hundreds of millions of dollars, said Kenneth Keyes. Thomas A. Barthold, a current chief of staff with the Joint Committee, said the staff does not comment on the receipt of any review case, nor comment on when any review case's review has been completed. Occasionally, the staff disagrees with the IRS, and the tax agency usually won't proceed with a refund over the objections of the committee. The law doesn't compel the IRS to accept the panel's determination. So that's when he said that's what he was getting when he was being audited. Remember that bullshit when Trump said he was being audited? Oh, hi, Allison. You have a pass. You're okay. Welcome. It's okay. There was way too much math in the beginning. Anyways, so he got a $73 million check from the IRS for a quickie refund, and then they realized he didn't deserve it, and they've been fighting to get it back ever since. And that's what he said was the audit that he's been dealing with, which was not an audit at all. So, yeah, Kevin McCarthy should go just to ask.
Where's Congress, Republicans and Democrats of their committee to be able to get the information if somebody fights?
Sorry. What party do you belong to?
Congress, Republicans and Democrats of their...
Republics and Democrats? Fucking hell.
And we should know the answers to these questions that empowers Congress, Republicans and Democrats of their committee to be...
Republics and... Obviously, he's been hanging out with Trump. They have apparently the same best words
I know
these
words.
days.
I have the best words.
Republicans and Republicans. Like, it's bad enough that they shorten, like, Democratic Party to Democrat Party. But now they're just choking on their own fucking name now?
Be able to get the information if somebody fights from providing it to them.
This is not... All right, this is just about flooding the zone with words. Fights with what? Back the fuck up.
Their committee to be able to get the information if somebody fights from providing it to them.
If somebody fights from providing it to them. Fuck, man. I'm surprised he's in Lino. Wow, that toaster's working overtime.
We even learned more because the Russian oligarch,
We even learned more.
former First Lady of Moscow at the Cafe Milano, where Joe dined with one of Hunter's foreign business partners. Also, that included a $120 million real estate investment on top of the $3.5 million. The oligarch in Kazakhstan, wired the money so Hunter can get himself a brand new Porsche. How great is that? I wonder what he did for all that.
It was had to do with the natural gas pipelines that they were building through there, and actually the money being spent where it was supposed to go instead of disappearing into Russia as it had for a fucking decade.
To deserve that brand new car.
Deserve that. It gets very upsetting for Sean when other people get perks.
Here's where I want to go with this, though, because
Let me guess. The gutter, the bottom.
to me, I don't care how much the media ignores it or the Democratic Party ignores it.
At least he said Democratic. I mean,
This is a real Joe Biden, not Hunter Biden, bribery scandal allegation here. We know now the following. Let's go through the facts. We know that Joe lied both as a president and as a candidate when he repeatedly denied ever speaking to Hunter, his brother, or his words, anybody for that matter, about their foreign business dealings. We know that.
yeah, that's no. Saying hello and being on the phone call or having Hunter put you on speaker when you call him because he's trying to impress people, as a kid in Hunter's position might do, especially when people think he's a wreck and he might lose his job because of his addiction. That's not surprising at all. And it's not, you're not on the hook, Sean. Booby, you of all people. Here's what I suggest. It fits right into what we're talking about here. Sean Hannity, do me a favor. Have Michael Cohen on as a guest. Hear me out. You don't have to ask him anything about his relationship with Trump. He'll just talk about the work he did for you. Because I'm sure there are times when it's possible that you were on speakerphone with him and you can just say what you said. Everybody else, all the other witnesses to this have said that, he just asked about the weather and asked about his son, and his son put him on speakerphone and went, that's my dad. But like, people needed to believe that was really his father, which is fucking weird anyways. 20 times in 10 years, and Biden called him every single day. 20 times out of 10 years. But I would like you to just have Michael Cohen come on and ask him if you've ever been on the phone with him and what you guys discussed. Right? That's easy.
That was a lie. We know that Joe Biden
Also, no, it wasn't.
leveraged $1 billion taxpayer dollars in loan guarantees for Ukraine and insisted that a prosecutor be fired in 6 hours.
Right. And if the guy didn't believe him that guy needed to be fired, he could call the president whose message he was relaying. Because the entire administration wanted this fucker gone. He wasn't doing a favor for anyone. And again, if this is the argument, that Joe Biden got a $5 million bribe to do something he was going to be ordered to do anyways, I want him running the economy. He's a thrilling businessman.
As a result of that, his son Hunter, who was sitting on a board that he admitted on Good Morning America that he had no experience to be on.
No. That's not what he said. He had no experience in oil and gas. That's different. They were an investment group, and he was the lobbying side of it because they were going to start a lobbying group, and then they decided, nope, we'd actually like to get into the investment, into the capital part of it. That's what he did. You don't actually think Donald Trump knows anything about buildings, do you?
Continued to get paid. Ultimately, it was millions of dollars in the end. And my question is, tell me how that's not influence peddling.
Well, I mean, here's the weird part. You kind of have to tell us how it is. Because it ain't. Again, the IMF was going to withhold $70 billion if Shokin was still around. Shokin was the godfather of Poroshenko's grandkids. Poroshenko wasn't kicking him to the curb because he was like klepto family. Shokin would start these, again, he would start these investigations, and then he would shelve the folder, and he would take bribes from organizations that if you don't keep paying me, eventually your folder hits somebody's desk. And as soon as he was kicked to the curb, those folders started showing up on desks. And Shokin he's not even a Ukrainian anymore. He had to buy Cypriot, he's a citizen of Cyprus now.
You know, the bribery statute, Mr. Speaker, does not demand that somebody benefit themselves financially. In this case, the vice president, as the 1023 form pointed out, took a specific action, and his family, was involved in personal enrichment, that being Hunter, based on his actions.
No, actually, the guy who gave him the job was forced to flee the country because the replacement for Shokin actually continued the investigation.
Is that bribery to you?
Well, here's the thing. Here's a better question. He's the Speaker of the House. He's not some random fuckhead from Bakersfield, the country with apparently the biggest murder rate in the country. Ask him as Speaker of the House if he would have wanted Shokin fired. Because I don't know how long, he's been serving long enough. He knows at least the background of who Victor Shokin is. In the same situation, would you have insisted that Victor Shokin get fired? Since he's the guy who is not going after corruption, and we're about to give them $1 billion in loan guarantees, and this guy is singularly responsible for looking the other way, as previous money we've given to Ukraine has found its way into Russian coffers. That's the question. Would you have fired Victor Shokin? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
Well, Sean, everything that you just talked about, nobody in America knew until you had a change in Congress. The FBI didn't
Okay, yes, they did.
act on their information from their informant. No one came forth. They took the word
Well, I'm sorry, who's the informant? Oh, you mean Rudy Giuliani.
of this president. And you were right. This isn't about Hunter Biden. This is about paying to play for the Biden family.
Okay, again, what policy did Joe Biden engage in that you would not have done had you been vice president at that exact time or right fucking now? That's got to be the question. Honest to God, I think this is the singular question that needs to be asked. Kevin McCarthy, if you were in the same situation, would you have given Ukraine $1 billion if they hadn't gotten rid of Shokin, which we'd been trying to get them to bump for months, if not over a year at that point? Since Euromaidan, would you have given them $1 billion in tax guarantees from loan guarantees from the American taxpayer? That seems to be the easiest question. That would solve the entirety of this, because if he has to answer yes, he would have, of course, insisted that Shokin get kicked to the curb, because he wouldn't have wasted $1 billion in American taxpayer funds on loan guarantees. And if he would have, I'd love to hear the story behind that. But it would boil down to this, and I think this is particularly fascinating. If indeed he believes that he would have done that, and I believe he would have, that means he thinks that Joe Biden was bribed to act like a Republican. All right.
Because the money goes to 9 different members through shell companies, much like the informant said. So we will continue to...
Much like, except for the money that the informant was talking about came from Shokin and went to tax guys in Ukraine and not to the Bidens and was there in cash. Giant bricks of cash.
Follow the information wherever it takes us and provide it to the American public.
Yeah, go for it. Follow the information. Again, I have no problem. Knock yourself the fuck out. Not worried in the least.
Difference here is we don't do it for political purposes.
All right. If that were true, you wouldn't talk about it until you found something. Until you went, oh, we have a phone call, we have something where he said he would do this in exchange for this behavior, and that's what happened. And it was something that the country would have been against. Thanks.
We follow the Constitution.
Oh, the trolls are very upset with me for pointing out the tissue argument that McCarthy and his ilk are pushing forward. It's a good time.
That's exactly what was played out during the Nixon administration. And
that was hold on. What?
The difference here is we don't do it for political purposes.
Okay, that's just fucking ridiculous.
We follow the Constitution. That's exactly what was played out during the Nixon administration.
That was exactly what was played out. How it played out, right? You're the Speaker of the fucking House. Learn to talk, man. Good Lord.
I know words. I have the best words.
In Congress, they voted to have an impeachment inquiry. And I raised it on this show not long ago.
Long ago? This is getting worse.
Because the actions of the Biden administration withholding information, that would rise to the level where we'd need impeachment inquiry to give the strength of the Congress to get the information that we need to give to the American public and follow through on our constitutional authority. That is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, what information have you not gotten? I'm serious. I would understand if there was like Trump withholding all kinds of shit, like, I don't know, boxes of classified documents in his shitter.
And that's exactly what we'll continue to do.
But Devin Archer's quoted as saying that hiring Hunter was, for them, an influence play. Those are his words, not my words.
Yes.
We know Joe lied. We know the family benefited. We know he took actions. Why would a vice president ever go to Ukraine and demand a prosecutor get fired? Why?
Because that guy was in charge of looking the other way when corruption was happening that was funneling money out of Ukraine into Russia and specifically protecting the people that did it. And we were about to give them $1 billion. And the IMF had the same problem.
Why would they leverage $1 billion in the relationship for, if it didn't benefit the Biden family?
Because it benefited the Ukrainians and the American taxpayer. That's why.
And just like the WhatsApp message.
What's interesting is
I'm sitting here with my father. A week later, $5 million ends up in their coffers.
Does it? A week later? First of all, isn't it 3.5 that you're saying that or is he talking about? He's talking about the CEFC deal. That was to buy an oil and gas company in Texas, a deal that never went through. And it wasn't 5, it was 3 spread out. That was because the deal fell apart. Fuck, man. They're just, at this point, they're just saying $5 million because it sounds good to them. Because Trump got $15 million in one fucking night.
Now, remember, Sean, you're not putting a timeline to this. We knew about Biden going after the Attorney General because he did that in his own words.
Right. Because it was his job.
We never knew because we just now got this, just a week ago from Devin, saying that they were being pushed from Burisma, saying we need to do something about this. What was that in?
No. Devin, read the transcript. Devin Archer does not say that they needed to get rid of Shokin. As a matter of fact, Shokin, according to Devin Archer, was, quote, under control. They were worried they were going to kick Shokin to the curb. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't, and they had Shokin on a cash leash. They sent him money, and he kept the fucking file off the desk. That's what Devin Archer said. Good Lord.
Dubai.
We need
and lo
help
and
from
behold,
D.C.
5 days later, action are taken. Yes, when
Action are taken? Jesus Christ. Speaker of the House.
in Dubai.
We need
and lo
help
and
from
behold,
D.C.
5 days later, action are taken. Yes, when what you're finding is all this information's being gathered is coming through the investigations of the Republican Congress that we will continue to follow through, and we will continue to bring more.
You know what the good thing about Kevin McCarthy, though, is that at least he doesn't talk to us all like we're third graders in some sort of weird, condescending voice. It's at least that doesn't happen.
And we will take it wherever it takes. And if it rises to the level, we will do our constitutional duties.
Okay, that's him giving himself an out.
And this is the part I want America to know.
Okay, here it is. Finally, we're getting to the part he wants America to know. America, gather in. Come on. Lean close. Here it comes. This is what he wants us to know.
America has a right to know if there was pay to play. America has a right to know if Garland is lying to him. America has a right to know in this FBI whether they investigated. And
Yeah, we know that. We know we have a right to know that. We need to know if you know that before you say you know that. You know?
they're pay to play when it comes to this president. I would think this president would want to clear that name rather rapidly.
Clear that name rather rapidly. Shit.
Give us his bank statements. Don't
Mr.
fight
Speaker,
us
let
when
me
we
ask
need
you.
information.
Do
You have all of his taxes. What bank statements? Oy.
believe we are looking at a bribery scandal with Joe Biden, who's now president, actions he took as vice president?
Great. Yes, here it is. This is a good question, Sean. Look at this. Sean Hannity. Good question. Load it up, Sean. Let's hear the whole question.
Mr.
Fight
Speaker,
us
let
when
me
we
ask
need
you.
information.
Let me ask you. Here it comes.
Do you believe we are looking at a bribery scandal with Joe Biden, who's now president, actions he took as vice president in exchange for family enrichment?
Well, I don't know of any other family that puts together in government 20 shell companies while you're the vice president of America.
Okay, nobody has 20 shell companies in government. I don't know what the fuck that even means. And what are the adult children? Because all right, we got to go. Second. All right, he's not answering it, but let's get there. Okay. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's jump in here real quick. Yeah. Give me 1 second. See this. Yeah, there's that. Mm-hmm. And here we go. Okay, let's start with a generalized breakdown of this thing right here. If I may. The Trump Organization is an umbrella company for Donald Trump's hundreds of investments in real estate brands and other businesses. As head of the executive branch and a business owner, he has the ability to influence both U.S. policy and government agencies to benefit his bottom line. You know, this is true. Okay. Let's see. Eric Trump told Forbes in March he may share quarterly reports with his father, despite a statement that they would not discuss business. Shortly after ProPublica reported Mr. Trump could draw money from his trust at any time without external disclosure. Ethics experts have urged Mr. Trump to liquidate his business holdings so that he can avoid any appearance of conflict. Yeah, right. Okay, American conflicts of interest. Trump International Hotel, 40 Wall Street. Dakota Access Pipelines. Sioux tribes and allies have protested for months to prevent this. Trump had a partial investment somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million in the parent company of the firm, Dakota Access Pipeline Energy Transfer Partners. Gee, I wonder if that affected any of his decision making. Deutsche Bank, remember them? One of Trump's major lenders on his real estate projects is Deutsche Bank. The bank is currently in negotiations with the U.S. Justice Department to settle a case involving misleading buyers when it sold mortgage bonds backed by risky loans. Deutsche Bank settled the mortgage bond case for $7.2 billion in late December 2016. The FCC, the president has another job title, the commander-in-chief, executive producer. He will continue a big stake in the Celebrity Apprentice, Arizona, blah, blah, blah. National Labor Relations Board, the Trump Hotel, Las Vegas, international hotel which Trump owns, broke the law for refusing to negotiate with Hotel Workers Union. The Secret Service, of course, making him pay everything. He has the Washington Post has reported that the Secret Service has requested $27 million extra for the overall protection detail in New York because he charges them above retail for them staying at his properties. His stocks, Jason Miller's transition team spokesman said the president sold all his stocks in June 2016, a month after the financial disclosure, but the campaign did not furnish proof nor provide an updated list of Mr. Trump's investments. Foreign holdings. According to Trump's financial disclosure, as of mid-2016, he had investments in or owned companies in at least 20 countries. Unlike his domestic businesses, Mr. Trump could run afoul of a clause in the U.S. Constitution by continuing to profit from these deals, the emoluments clause. They never even argued it, and he just... One former White House ethics lawyer has argued Trump would be in violation of the Constitution on day one. An Argentina broadcast reported that Trump allegedly asked President Mauricio Macri for his support to build an office tower in Buenos Aires while on a call during Trump's transition period. Brazil, a waterfront property in Rio de Janeiro, branded the Trump name through a licensing deal as the subject of a federal inquiry after two small Brazilian pension funds invested heavily in the unfinished project with allegations of bribery. Trump Organization has reportedly canceled their licensing deal with the developers in Rio. Trump lawyer Alan Garten told the AP in December this and a few other cancellations were normal housekeeping. Canada, you think he would have done it if he hadn't won? They held on to it until after, right? China. Well, that's a good start. The Bank of China is one of China's largest banks and also a majority state-owned. It holds the title on a $950 million loan for a New York building in which Trump is a part owner. Mr. Trump has previously labeled China a currency manipulator. Another largely government-owned Chinese bank, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, has space in Trump Tower paying rent to the Trump Organization. The Trump Organization has also previously attempted to open a series of hotels in the country. Trump Hotels chief executive Alan Danziger told a Hong Kong media outlet in October they wanted to open 20 to 30 hotels in the country in 2017. Meanwhile, Trump's son-in-law and now senior advisor Jared Kushner is negotiating a deal with China's Anbang Insurance Group to redevelop 666 Fifth Avenue, which, by the way, we bumped right by it, but if you want to help out the show, don't forget a $6.66 super chat to help us buy 666 Fifth Avenue. We're going to get there eventually. All I need is 1 billion viewers. All right. Now, Mr. Kushner has been given a senior role inside the White House. His lawyer told the New York Times he, quote, would recuse from particular matters that would have a direct and predictable effect on his remaining financial interests without giving specifics. Ivanka Trump, who has her own non-paying position in the White House, has advised her father on a broad number of policy areas, including high-profile foreign policy meetings. That was the fun part. By the way, the idea that Hunter Biden was around when his dad was vice president and they had dinner a few times, Ivanka Trump literally had an unpaid advisory role. She just hung around the Oval Office all the time. And the reason she was unpaid? So that she could act on anything she heard. On the same day she sat next to Chinese president at dinner in Mar-a-Lago, the Chinese government approved 3 new trademarks from Ms. Trump's firm to sell items in China. Now, obviously, China's going to shit right now, so despite a promise to do no new deals while Mr. Trump is in office, the Trump Organization is testing that definition in the Dominican Republic. The firm with developers of beachfront planned community, but the project stalled. Oh, the firm with there's something's fucked up there. And Trump sued in 2012 for an unpaid licensing fees. After the settlement, in February, owners made a show of announcing Eric Trump had toured the project. That would be trading on his dad's name, I think, is what that would be right there. Georgia, not the state, by the way. The Trump Organization canceled a licensing deal to build a condo tower in the resort town of Batumi, Georgia, shortly after Mr. Trump won the election because he got a briefing that said Russia's probably going to blow the place up. One of the business partners involved in the deal told Forbes the firm had expressly told him the reason the deal was canceled was concerns over the emoluments clause, despite a Trump lawyer's earlier statement that the cancellation was not a part of a strategy to reduce potential conflicts of interest. India. Trump has a licensing deal for buildings in Mumbai and Pune. Indonesia, Japan, Philippines, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, Turkey, By the way, if Trump let China take Taiwan, yeah, they would just give him the property. Turkey, 2008, Trump entered a licensing partnership with the Turkish conglomerate Dogan Holdings. UK golf courses, which didn't work out in his favor, just gets him he gets to drive by a bunch of people calling him a dick. Then, on top of this, Trump's many dealings in one map. There it is. Here's all of his holdings, his businesses or properties. There you go. In the United States, and I don't know if that's Canada or Washington State, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll count Mar-a-Lago down as 5 or something right here. Yeah? I don't know why they have it out here, but 5, there you go. And then all the rest of his businesses are outside the fucking country. Many of them in sketchy fucking parts of the world. Argentina, Azerbaijan, Bermuda, Brazil, Bahamas. Yeah. Trump has wanted to bring his brand to the Middle Kingdom, 中国, for years. On his 2016 financial disclosure statement, he lists positions as multiple companies that would be connected to business in China. Trump Hotel Collection CEO Eric Danziger was quoted in Chinese media last fall as saying the company plans to build 20 or 30 hotels in the country. That's where that comes from. Trump won't divest from his companies while he's president. I could actually run my business and run government at the same time. I don't like the way that looks, but I would be able to do that if I wanted to. Trump strikes new overseas deal and raises old ethics issues. Trump's company is licensing its name for a golf resort in Oman, and the first of what the company hopes will be several overseas deals. This is during his campaign for president this time. How about this one? Trump made $160 million in foreign business deals while he was president. $160 million. $160 million while he was, and his daughter and her husband made a $2 billion deal. Everything they accuse someone else of is shit they're up to. Trump, and this was in 2017. Trump, this is after he got elected. Trump drops no new deals pledge. Donald Trump will not sell his business nor place his assets in a blind trust. While serving as president, the president-elect and lawyers involved in the negotiations said Wednesday during his long-awaited news conference. Instead, Trump's company will not enter into new foreign deals and will appoint an ethics advisor who must approve any new domestic deals in writing, according to the ethics arrangement by the president laid out on Wednesday. The lawyers also promised that Trump's businesses and assets will be put into a trust for the duration of the presidency and added he will have no involvement whatsoever in the business. That didn't turn out to be true. Trump had terminated all pending deals and would impose, quote, severe new restrictions on deals in the United States. On new deals in the United States. Son of a bitch. As previously said, his 2 oldest sons will manage the company with the help of a longtime executive of the Trump Organization, who is now in jail. The lawyers said Trump and one of those sons had to plead the fifth 400 times recently in New York. The lawyers said Trump will have limited information rights regarding what's happening in the company he built over decades. In all fairness, he always has that. He doesn't know the fuck what's going on. They haven't built anything in years. He just licenses the name that his dad left him. Under the new ethics plan, Trump, his children, his longtime business associates will be barred from discussing company operations and the inner workings of the U.S. government. Trump's inner workings of the U.S. government. But our foreign engagements, fine. Good Lord. Trump's team did not provide any details on how that ban would be enforced or verified. I mean, honestly, what's not to love? But anyways, please continue.
My family has no shell companies.
You live in Bakersfield.
I don't know of any other business in America that puts shell companies what do you produce?
I didn't. Do you think he wasn't watching when I, guys? Do you think I don't know with the? Hold on. That's the last one over here, isn't it? Right. Yeah. Trump has 500 LLCs. Yeah. Some of them are just for bank accounts. You know this guy personally. Stop it. Stop saying you don't fucking know. You fucking know. You know.
You don't produce any products. And if you're an expert when it comes to foreign policy, why isn't it Italy or the UK?
Because the money in Italy and UK is the oldest on earth, and if just entry level. If you wanted to get into real estate in London, you'd need the kind of backers that Musk needed to buy Twitter. Does this asshole understand buy low, sell high at all? You know who does understand it? Shit, I don't even. Let's see. This is from Delaware Online. Here you go. How remember that house that Trump owned that nobody lived in and he sold for $90 million and the guy fucking bulldozed it? That's not weird. Okay. If you don't think that's weird, you're fine with that? Maggots in the chat room? Maggots, anybody? Any maggots? Remember that? By the way, we're at 2,300 people in here. Come on now. Come on. Look at this. Look at this huge group of people. You're all beautiful and thank you. By the way, like, subscribe, and et cetera, et cetera. You know who might be able to teach Kevin McCarthy a thing or two about, buy low, sell high and that kind of stuff? Analysis. How Biden made a large profit on the sale of his house. Senator benefited from 2 deals with his supporters. This is the part that everybody thought was like hinky back then. Here we go. Joe Biden likes to say he's an embodiment of the American dream, middle class guy, though he's considered one of the least wealthy senators. His net worth dwarfed by several multi-millionaire attorneys and entrepreneurs. Biden is a wealthy man by ordinary standards, worth about $2 million, but perhaps hundreds of thousands more. Like many Americans, Biden House is his most valuable asset. First elected to the Senate 36 years ago, the former lawyer lives off Barley Mill Road in Greenville, northern Delaware's priciest area, on a 4-acre lakefront estate in a 7,000 square foot custom home. Biden also owns a smaller carriage house on his property where his widowed mother lives. And it's interesting that he couldn't get like Harlan Crow to just pay for his widowed mother, because she needs a place to stay. Harlan Crow cares about widowed mothers. Just saying. All right. Local real estate agents say the Biden property is worth at least $2.5 million. $1.8 million more than the couple owes. In addition, his latest Senate financial disclosure, which lists assets and liabilities in wide ranges, shows the Biden's net worth, excluding real estate holdings and mortgage debt, is between $381,000 and minus $55,000. Whatever. Okay. Biden and his wife Jill, an English instructor at Delaware Technical Community College, have combined salaries of $265,000 a year. Between 2005 and 2007, Biden also received a $225,000 in advances for his autobiography, Promises to Keep, which he made millions on when it sold. While their earnings probably would not be enough to purchase their Greenville estate today, the Bidens have managed to live in such splendor partly because of 2 financially rewarding real estate deals with political supporters. Okay, in 1996, Biden sold a home in Greenville for the asking price of $1.2 million, more than 6 times what he paid 2 decades earlier to this guy John Cochran III, a top executive at the MBNA credit card bank that was a longtime political benefactor. Using profits from the sale, Biden paid $350,000 to cash to a real estate executive and developer Keith D. Stoltz for 4.2 vacant acres, a long, narrow lot a few miles from Biden's old home. Stoltz had bought the same lot 5 years earlier for the same price. Stephen Pyle, who sold the land to Stoltz in 1981, said he was surprised that Stoltz, who lived in the neighboring estate, did not make any profit selling to Biden. That doesn't sound like Keith Stoltz. Pyle, an artist who now lives in Texas, said of Stoltz, whose company recently proposed a $525 million project at nearby Barley Mill Plaza, a former DuPont County office campus, whatever. Cochran did not return numerous calls to the article. Although Cochran paid Biden's asking price, Stoltz wrote in an email to the News Journal that the residential real estate market was soft when he was selling his lot. Biden would not agree to be interviewed. Campaign spokesman David Wade said in a written statement because of his time constraints, he's doing 1 million miles an hour. Wade wrote that Biden's deals with Cochran and Stoltz were above board and involved no special favors. Just like millions of Americans, the Biden family has bought, renovated, and sold their home over the last 20 years and been able to have a parent live close by. This is a snapshot of life, blah, blah. $1.2 million. Okay, sold his house in North Star Development near Hockenson in 1975, 3 years after his first wife died in a car crash. He subsequently bought a 10,000 square foot former DuPont County mansion. The first-term senator paid $185,000 for the stately colonial near Hagley Museum that was owned by a now-defunct development partnership building upscale homes off of Montchain Road. He got it on the cheap because nobody was moving there. An account of Biden's purchase at the time at 6 Mont Chan Drive was included in Richard Benn's book 88 Presidential Candidates, What It Takes. It's the kind of place 1,000 Italian guys died building. Hand-carved doorways, a curved hand-carved grand staircase that Clark Gable could have carried a girl down, a library fit for a Carnegie, a Bernard Baruch, someone like that. Can't remember. Joe found it one night, a couple of years after he became a senator. He was driving around like he did back then. He was snooping around Greenville, streets of his dreams, when he saw it all overgrown, boarded up. Some developer was going to knock it down. He got in the developer's face and started talking fast. Senator Biden married Jill in 77, and the couple raised 3 children in that home. In 1996, they put it on the market for $1.2 million. Okay, that is exactly how you do it. He was driving around at night, found what did they tell you about real estate? Find the shittiest house in the nicest neighborhood and fix it up. That fall, the home sale became controversial when a pollster for Biden's reelection opponent, Raymond Clatworthy, come on, suggested during a telephone survey that Cochran paid more than twice what the house was worth. At the time, Biden called it unbridled politics, immoral, and unethical, blah, blah. The senator made a public I wonder how much that house is worth now. What do you think? 5? Yeah. Let's see. The senator also made public a 1992 document from a Delaware appraisal group prepared when Biden was co-signing a loan for his son's college education, which set the home's value at $1.2 million. It didn't even go up in 5 years after he said, all right, whatever. That didn't end the controversy. The piece noted NBA employees had given $62,000 for his re-election campaign because they liked him. I don't give a shit. Also reimbursed Cochran for his move to Delaware from Maryland, including $210 for the loss of his old home magazine. That's the guy's job. Who gives a shit? Shortly after Biden defeated Clatworthy, the magazine reported NBA hired Biden's son Hunter, a Yale graduate, to manage to a management trainee post. Hunter Biden later left the bank and became a lobbyist. Provided the magazine with a 1996 appraisal, but the Mont Chan Drive's property value at 1.2, putting it at $1.2 million. The appraisal, however, listed 2 nearby properties valued at slightly over $1 million that both sold for at least $200,000 below the asking price, but they hadn't been fixed up. Silly people. Anyways, so that's the thing. He bought a house for $186,000 that they were going to bulldoze, fixed it up, and sold it for 1.2 20 fucking years later. It's so stupid. It just makes brain hurt. Here we go.
Are France hiring you? Why is it just you?
Also, are France hiring you? I don't know. You have to talk to George Bush. He's the one who said that France doesn't even have a word for entrepreneur.
Ukraine, Russia, China, Romania, and
all right, you're gonna have to ask Andrew Tate why he's in Romania. I don't know. I think largely you're talking about investment groups, and you're excluding where the money came from to invest in Ukraine.
why is then at the time advocating and putting your family members on boards that you want action in? Why are you providing these families Porsches? Why are you saying you have?
Wait, George, hold on. Look, I know Joe likes his Corvette, but how many Porsches is Hunter Biden getting?
No saying in this business, but now we find, lo and behold, you've gone to dinners. And after those...
You've gone to dinners? Oh, God.
Dinners, $3.5 million flows. Why do you say you have...
And by the way, again, that's the shutdown money.
No money from China came, but...
After dinner, wait. After that dinner, the deal with CEFC went away. And the money that they had put in trust, the I'm not fucking wasting your time money, was doled out. That's what the $3 million was. Because originally it was for $40 million, and Hunter and his partners were going to put in 5 of their own, but since it was CEFC's idea and their deal, they were supposed to fund it to the tune of $10 million in seed money or some shit like that. And ultimately, they're like, okay, but you got to put $3.5 million in trust. You know, a portion. It was just under $4 million, I think, ultimately, for 10% of the $40 million deal that they were going to do on this company that they were going to purchase in, I believe it was Louisiana or Alabama. Anyways, it was a natural gas company, the CEFC. And this is Hunter Biden trying to get these foreign companies to buy stakes in U.S. companies and therefore, by the way, be under U.S. law, which is one of the things this asshole always leaves out. It's very weird to me. Anyways, after I'm sort of just putting this together now, but according to McCarthy's telling of it, Hunter was in the process with Devon Archer and others of putting this deal together with CEFC, the Chinese energy company that was going to buy this energy company in this natural gas plant or field in Alabama or Louisiana, wherever it was. And after Joe showed up at dinner, the deal was off. And they doled out the sorry to waste your time money. That's it. That's actually how it went down. If he'd have shown up at the meal and then the price of the deal went up, or that secured it, that it didn't go forward. It stopped after Biden met those people, apparently.
Now we proved it.
No, you've actually proved that the worst thing for Hunter's business is if his dad was on the call, because his dad apparently was checking up on him, and anytime it was hinky or fucked up, more than likely he called Hunter up and went, look, I'm not supposed to talk to you about your businesses. It's none of my business. You're going to do what you're going to do. But that dude's a fucking crook. Beat feet. Get away. Biden's buying children's blood from Romania for rituals. Doesn't it come from South America? Doesn't Sound of Freedom tell us that the drug cartels are now selling adrenochrome on the street in like Slurpee machines?
I think there's enough proof out there that this Biden family needs to come forward and show there wasn't a pay-to-play.
And no, that's not how it works, dick fuck. That's not how it works. If you think there's enough out there, fucking show it. This is such a like, everybody in town thinks you're a whore. I think we need to get a look. You probably got pierced genitals. Let's show your genitals to everybody. If they're not pierced, what are you ashamed of? Like, that's what this is. Get the fuck out of here. Prove your case or bug off.
America deserves more, and Americans want to know. And the
No, they don't, or you would have had a red wave. You barely squeaked in, moron.
one thing I will tell you is, as this Congress, the People's Congress, we will follow the facts and provide it.
It's more like the peephole Congress. Honest to God, I felt like these guys just like spank it to nudes of Hunter Biden.
To the American public, just like the Constitution tells us to do.
Speaker McCarthy, thank you. We'll follow.
Yeah, we'll
closely. Hey,
yeah, we're gonna follow closely. Let us know if anything actually fucking. I don't know. If you have any proof at all, that'd be helpful, maybe. Now, same shit from this. This is Jesse Waters, who used to have a job doing the most racist man on the street segments that Fox could get away with. All the while trying to get Tucker Carlson's either head writer job or his actual job. And I mean, he's kind of the perfect fit. Is this on the 5 or is this just him? Yep. The 5 co-hosts say what? Discuss how Democrats are attacking Trump while allegedly giving Hunter and Joe a big pass. Okay. Tell you what, you find audio. I know Rudy told somebody that he heard from somebody that a guy said that they can't find that was on the run or whatever, that there's tape that he's going to use in case he ever gets in trouble, even though he's an international fugitive, apparently, that he's got Joe on tape. Tell you what, play that for us, and we'll give it as much attention as Trump saying this. Hold on one second. Let's see. See if this is in here.
Our top focus on Beyond that he can action against it.
Where's the audio? Don't play me
Currently probing Trump's alleged.
Yes, I know that. Hold on. Trump makes damning exclusive. There it is. But hear the conversation.
These are bad, sick people.
That was your coup, you know. against you.
Well, it
That's
started right at the
like when
beginning.
Millie's talking about, oh, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He
I'll show you an example.
said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look.
I have a big pile of paper. This thing just came up.
This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was
They presented me this. This was him. Also, just so you know, the military does not come to the president and go, here's the attack plan. Go, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna make this happen for us. That doesn't fucking happen. That's not how it happens at all. Never has. If there's anything even remotely close to it, it's because Cheney made phone calls that Bush told him he could make, and maybe Bush Jr. for Reagan, where they're like, yeah, if you want to have them bring me shit, if you think it would be helpful, knock yourself out. But even that is a direct order from the president in that regard. But they don't walk up to you and go, here's our attack plan. We're just going to attack Yemen. We're just going to bomb this place. Just letting you know. Giving you a heads up there, Chief.
the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at.
Hi, Kevin. Go away. If you're gonna, I don't mind trolls if they're original.
This was him. This wasn't done by me.
Wait, I don't even see any YouTube people in there. Is YouTube on right now? Is the chat working for YouTube? Oh, there you go. That was weird. You just got a big chunk of Facebook and Twitch, and I was nervous.
This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found. Isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Mm-hmm. Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look.
But look. There it is. Look. Hold on. This is look.
Illegal, yeah, look.
Yeah.
Look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
No. She wouldn't. And if you think she did, produce the fucking tape.
she'd send it to Anthony Weiner.
Yeah.
The pervert.
The pervert. That's right. That's the pervert.
No perverts.
Uh-huh.
By the way, isn't that incredible? Though?
Yeah.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it. And, you know, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me.
Okay, first of all, does this dumb motherfucker think, we haven't covered this in, just as the audio. Does this dumb motherfucker think that presidents draft up battle plans? Right? Does he think that Ronald Reagan was like, well, I think if we follow me on this, we'll get some crack, and then we'll trade the crack for guns, and then they'll sell the crack for the money, and then the money will never have to leave. We'll just take the crack, and work with me on this, and then we'll suicide any reporter that knows about it. Come on, follow me. Get the fuck out of here.
I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah.
No, we'll have to see. That sounds like Alina Habba.
Yeah.
Declassified.
Figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, But
Right. See, now you can't because you're not president anymore, and it's not declassified. And you're realizing that. And everyone around you is realizing they are participating in the commission of a crime right then.
this is
Now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Now we have a problem. Yep, that's Habba. That's one of his lawyers.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so. Here and I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible, right?
No,
Hey, bring some cokes in,
one.
please.
Bring some cokes. We're just looking at classified documents and bullshitting about Glory days. His scribbled with young girls' eyes. Glory days. Yeah. So that's the piece of tape, folks. That's you tell you what. You find a piece of that, and you come talk to me. Okay. You get something, and again, if Biden and Trump are equally criminal. And I'm aware of all the criminality that Trump has been aware of or been involved in. And I'm not aware of the evidence that Biden has been involved in anything. There's plenty of allegations, but that didn't mean shit. If they're equally guilty, one of them is definitely smarter than the other. So again, the doddering fool / I guess dough-headed doddering old man duality. Apparently, we know what's winning.
Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here.
Speaking of idiots.
I agree. I'm a dope.
Right. Okay. Now, Jesse Waters is upset.
Team Trump just hitting back
again. Oh yeah. And somebody was like, "That's a standard golf umbrella." He's on a tarmac. Fuck him. He looks like a Lilliputian with that fucking thing. Get a regular umbrella. You don't have merch sitting around? You don't have a Trump umbrella?
Back of the department.
You have one that just looks like giant orange hair? How does he not have one? It would look like something out of the Lorax.
The justice's attempt to muzzle what he can say in public about the 2020 election case.
Well, I mean, so he can't try it in public or get somebody killed. And he also can't, they don't want him to write down the home addresses of the witnesses so that he can get them killed.
The Department of Justice wants to prevent Trump from sharing details about their investigation. But his lawyers say it would violate Trump's First Amendment rights. Quote, in a trial about First Amendment rights, the government...
Still using that picture, man. Still using it. Just still using that old televangelist blanched skin picture.
Government seeks to restrict First Amendment rights. Worse, it does so against its administration's primary political opponent.
No, he can say anything he wants in the campaign and stuff. He just can't list the details of it against him to basically dirty up the jury pool so he can go, I can't get a fair trial. Everybody knows the details of the case. Yeah, because of you fucker.
During an election season in which the administration, prominent party members, and media allies have campaigned on the indictment and proliferated its false allegations.
No. Joe Biden jokingly taking a sip of a cup of coffee is not campaigning on the indictment and proliferating its false allegations. First of all, there aren't any false allegations. They're simply allegations. And the fact that you feel the need to say allegations is, I would call that a backseat outrageous right there. That's what I think. That's what I think.
The former president ripping apart the Justice Department's charges this weekend. Watch.
Whenever more Biden corruption is exposed, his henchmen charge me with crimes. Now I'm up here sweating, and they're doing a hot cut of me to make it look like I wasn't boring as fuck. I'm being indicted because of what we've done, and I'm being indicted because they're afraid of all of us, because we have a movement that's never been seen in the history of our country. Those indictments aren't worth the paper they're written on. They're not worth, they took away free speech.
And is the Democrat...
printed on. They're not, I mean...
Democrats in the media go hard on Trump. You can probably guess.
Ew. We do no such thing.
I had to beat off.
Who's getting a pass?
This focus, this obsession, I would say, on Hunter Biden is really just a whopper of whataboutism, because the Republicans are trying to deflect, to diminish, to defend Donald Trump.
We're going to have a campaign that is going to be filled with a lot of whataboutisms. We know the Republicans are going to talk about Hunter Biden a lot.
We know that there is a lot of influence in Washington that's based on people's family connections.
Last
and family
names
ties.
matter a lot on K Street.
As you well know, as you were very cautious about starting impeachment proceedings.
This is frivolous. This is a diversionary tactic.
Harold Ford Jr., you're a lawyer. So if the Department of Justice says, you're not allowed to talk about this case.
Look at fucking Greg over there. Just like, he's got something written down and he's like, this is going to be a sweet one.
Case.
Which means it's going to suck.
For the next year, in the middle of a presidential campaign. How is that not illegal?
because you can't stop charges against you by running for office? The fuck are you talking about? That's another one. Like, is that the new defense? Is that just how they're going to do it now? If you're a Republican and you get pulled over for some shit, like, you know, you're speeding with a dead body in your trunk, you're just going to make what's the argument going to be? What are you going to do? What are you just going to? All right, I'm running for mayor. I'm running for comptroller. What? I don't have to give you my license. Why not? Because I'm running for mayor. I got a sign in the trunk. Well, open the trunk and show me. I don't have to. Get a warrant.
Well, it may be what you're saying is unconstitutional. You can't strip him of a right to say, any American of a right to say, I'm innocent of these charges.
No, you can say that. You can't discuss the details of the case. That's not weird. Happens all the time, especially when it comes to politicians. Most of the time it's the politician asking for the other people to not be able to talk about shit.
Here's why I'm innocent of these charges. And
yeah, you could still say that.
And I would imagine that the court is going to allow him to be able to go out wherever he wants. Because I thought I don't always agree with his lawyers. I think sometimes they've been maybe C or D rate. But I thought whomever wrote that was pretty good. Because he made clear you can't deny an American the opportunity, particularly if the other side is talking about it as well. Where I disagree with his lawyers, if former President Trump attacks the court or the prosecutor again, he should have something tamped on him around that. But professing his innocence, laying out the facts.
Yeah, that's not what this is about. This is specifically about attacking the witnesses, the prosecutor, the judge, and probably the jury at some point, and offering them up to be on the receiving end of Mike Pence level violence.
As he knows it, laying out the evidence as he's going to present it on his side.
What do you mean when you say attack the court? What does that mean?
When you say that the judge is an idiot, when you say that the prosecution is a henchman, these are things that will inflame and not serve anyone's interest in doing
Did he say the judge was an idiot? I haven't heard that.
Well,
he may have, but did not hear that.
He has said it not only about this judge, but other judges.
Slander.
But I think he should be able to say whatever he wants regarding the facts and the evidence in the case.
He is.
Okay. So he could say the judge was a partner at Hunter's law firm, the same firm that did the dossier, and has donated about $4,300 to Barack Obama.
$4,300? Now, who wouldn't sell out their country and the profession they've spent their life in for $4,300?
I'm not Joe Biden. You can say that. You just can't say she's an idiot.
Right, but there's nothing wrong. But I would imagine if someone accused me of the things they accused the president of, I would be saying I didn't do those. I wouldn't be personalizing with the judge. But that's he has every right to do that. But what he does not have a right to do is to attack the court and to attack the prosecutor personally. If you want to attack their case, I think should be fully protected for
Okay,
that.
so what if in discovery, the Department of Justice hands us stuff to his defense attorney and it said we had agents crawling all over January 6th? Trump can't say that during an election campaign?
No, he can't. Also, they're not going to say that. But ultimately, how do you think they found out that there was going to be violence that day? Do you want to bring those guys in? You want to bring the FBI in and have them sit down and then testify? Yeah, we had to have people in the crowd that day because he wanted the metal detectors turned off because he didn't care if they had guns because he thought they would use them once they got to the Capitol. What? I'm not supposed to. Oh shit. Also, we found out that groups of people that Ginny Thomas had paid for their bus ticket and their plane ticket to be there were stockpiling guns in nearby, and we had people in the crowd in case they decided to go get the guns. We had limited what we could. It was limited in what we could do because the secretary, the temporary SecDef he put in charge, had written this thing about what we can't use shields and we can't use guns and we can't use any kinds of hitting weapons. We just got to stand there with our thumb up our ass. So we were like, what within the law, what can we legally do? We can't carry arms on the grounds because what if something happens to us and they find a gun on us and they use it on somebody else, so we're unarmed. So we had to be there, but we were there to run interference or at least tell people like, hey, they're going for the truck where we know the guns are. Because we can't arrest them just for having guns in a truck nearby until they do something.
Payne? I think he's going to say what he wants, given his history. I think he will not be taking things back when he's trying to run for president and has all of these indictments. I'm not surprised that the Department of Justice would like him to say less. They don't have any credibility when it comes to the repeated things they've tried to bring against him, and they're really hoping now that one of these indictments sticks. On the J6 thing, you know, to answer the question about why he would go after,
They're all going to stick because he's on tape. I think he's technically on tape in all of them now. They have tape of him committing the crime in each of these cases. Even the E. Jean fucking Carroll case. The E. Jean fucking Carroll case, like he once he got busted for it, he doubled down after he'd already been found guilty. I don't know how he doesn't get charged after $5 million being that blatant about it. I don't know how he doesn't get hit with 50, much less another fucking 5 every time he does it.
the players here, including the judge or the prosecutor. It's because we've seen since Trump entered the political arena 2015, 2016, that the people who were investigating him had political motive. Peter Strzok.
Yes, they did. They were on the side of the United States.
Lisa Page.
They were pro-democracy.
The FBI investigating him, saying he could never be president. Now you have this judge in D.C. on the...
Which, and by the way, he was president. Like, he didn't... That didn't stop him. I mean, definitely they went to impeach him on legal grounds, but the first one, that happened after the Mueller report was over, and when he thought he was free and clear to just do whatever the fuck he wanted.
J6 case, who is an activist. She has donated lots of money to Democrats. She was very sympathetic to the BLM riots while she's throwing J6ers behind bars longer than prosecutors even asked for. So,
yeah, initially, the reason they got longer sentences is because of how they acted in court.
So that is...
It's one thing they're like, we think they deserve 6 years for this, and then they come into court and like, fuck you, I'd burn this place down in a heartbeat. All right, we're tagged. All right. 8 years.
Is relevant to the context of the broader situation for people to understand.
And also, by the way, this goes to what I was saying about Kevin McCarthy earlier, that I would like to know if Kevin McCarthy would have fired Victor Shokin. Secondly, and if no, why not? Explain all of it. Break it down for me. Why you would not have insisted that Victor Shokin be fired in that same time frame, or why you would have given $1 billion in loan guarantees if if Poroshenko had refused to do it because the guy was the godfather of his kids, even though he was helping money back, whatever. Same thing here. I would like her to know, like, how many, if there were, any of these cases, so just bring up any of them where somebody was going to get 6 years and they got 8, or they got 6 and probation or something like that over what the state asked for. I would love to sit down and just go through the facts of the case in any of those with her and Jesse Waters sitting there and Gutfeld, and just say, all right, you want this person living on your street. Tell me why. Tell me why you want them out sooner.
And why he may have some commentary on that. But while this is all happening with the indictments, and this is the double standard play, Hunter Biden is rewriting his plea agreement. He was able to plead guilty when he was supposed to plead not guilty, and now he's working with the DOJ to figure out what...
Huh? If you're pleading not guilty, you don't have a plea agreement. All right, this is just stupid.
What's next after they screwed up in front of the judge?
Anybody take a plea to plead not guilty? Anybody think that makes any fucking sense? Anybody ever seen an episode of Law and Order? Ever?
And got caught with their blanket immunity statement. So while Trump is dealing with all of this, Hunter Biden is working with DOJ on another sweetheart deal that may...
No, it's actually narrowing the confines. He may be charged for stuff later. They're working out the language. And essentially what they're doing is that he can't be charged if he makes a plea deal and he admits to certain crimes. They can't tack on more crimes after that are related to the information that he gave them during the process of agreeing to the plea deal. So they say, okay, with this plea deal, you tell us the truth about this, and this. And if you do that, then you get this plea deal. That's how all of them work out. And then they find out you lied about it, the plea is off later, whatever. But if you say this is the deal, here's what would happen. If they wrote this and it was blanket and they decided to go after him later, or they weren't specific about whether it was just stuff he discussed within the confines of this particular case, or these interviews that he did around these things, that if they use any details from those things after he's already pled guilty to a lesser charge and all that kind of shit, if they use any of that stuff, that is a violation of his Fifth Amendment rights. This is why Cosby got out of jail. And so you don't want to set it up so that you're breaking someone's Fifth Amendment rights. Now, she might want this, and it seems like she does. Jesse Waters definitely wants this. He doesn't believe that anybody any Biden should ever have Fifth Amendment rights. And he certainly doesn't give a fuck when Donald Trump and Eric Trump plead the Fifth 400 times in one interview. Each to the same fucking questions. But the key is, if you're going to plead innocent, you plead not guilty, you don't take a plea agreement, because that's the opposite of taking a plea agreement. And if you take a plea, then anything you give up in exchange for that plea, you cannot be charged for the information you provide outside of whatever punishment you have agreed to in the plea deal.
They also fall apart depending on what's in it.
And the lawyer for the former President Trump said this weekend, we should have cameras in the courtroom. This can't be a secret trial.
No, we're for it. I'm for it. Yeah, and Trump, this is the funny thing, is the only person that does not want these cameras in the courtroom for real, maybe the judge is a little nervous about it, for just the safety of staff and themselves. Trump, this idea that he loves, the attention, that he can always use it, and there's no such thing as bad press. He fucking hates the idea.
Right.
He's going to be referred to as Mr. Trump the whole time. Half the people call him President Trump. Other people call him Mr. Trump. It's going to drive him fucking crazy.
Before an election, Dana.
So I've had a long-standing principle in my life. I am against cameras in the courtroom. Full stop.
I agree.
On the federal level, I think there's never been cameras allowed in the courtroom at the federal level. I think it just adds to chaos, chicanery, nonsense.
Chicanery.
And actually you ask the press secretary to Bill Clinton, whose name was Mike
McCurry.
McCurry, thank you. Sorry, Mike.
Democratic trivia right here.
Yeah, thank you. He was the first to allow cameras in the briefing room. How do you think that's gone?
Yeah.
In the briefing room, when you have people.
Acosta.
Yes, and making a mockery of it.
Ducey? What are you fucking talking about? Chanel Rayon?
But one of the things that the Supreme Court did during COVID.
It is also 2023, by the way. Can we? When I was a child, they didn't have cameras in the courtroom because they were all the size of a small cannon.
COVID was they allowed, under a bit of duress, but it seemed to work out kind of okay, was you could listen to the audio.
Yeah. I like that.
And the audio actually.
Yeah, it'd be like a family will gather around the radio and listen to the Trump things. You can hear them in the background, like while the court's going on, you just hear Trump. Every time. That's him. That's the man on the tape. Mr. Trump, do you need to be excused? No. Welcome to the Mercury Theater's rendition of the Donald Trump. Which trial should we do? E. Jean Carroll documents and Georgia electioneering case with a plate of beans playing the part of Donald Trump.
Makes you listen.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing.
Mr. Trump, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. If you could be there. Do you feel okay? Do you need some time, or can you speak right now?
I know words. I have the best words.
Great. Now, you had a problem with one of the witnesses that did not want to appear in court visually. You said they were...
anonymous, really anonymous.
You mean they wanted to remain anonymous. I see. Okay. I mean, they have the right to do that because they're afraid. But why would you think that?
Look, wait.
Oh, they're criminals. I see. You think they're a criminal. That's right. And it is alleged that you pulled some levers and you tried to figure out who it was. Who do you believe the witness against you was?
Obama.
No, that's not who it was, Mr. President. But let's get down to brass tacks. Let's get down to the root of how all this started.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges.
We don't have time for that. There's a whole There's not a craft services table. This is not The Apprentice. So-
Deliberately, willfully, and with total premedication.
Your Honor, is he on any medication that I should be made aware of if I'm going to question him in any way? All right. Anyways, you wanted to make a statement about the Jan 6 or something.
The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of dust. It's defiled, right? See, I can't see it very well.
What? Yeah, you want her to read it back to you? That we'll be back with the Mercury Theater's presentation of the Donald Trump trial right after these messages.
What happened to the server?
Just go, wait till we get to break.
Thing is, if you're watching it and you have cable news pundits like commenting on it and watching, like you might get, for either side you're on, the legal nuances wrong. You might get it wrong. So I think cameras in the courtroom are not a good idea for the long run, and I wouldn't do it in this case either.
Okay.
Well, yeah. That's why you have, like, just the trial. I mean, people are going to say shit. You can't stop that. It's the United States of America. And I don't know why you hate America, lady, but for sure, we're going to, if they put cameras in there, people are going to watch the whole fucking thing. They're not going to watch commentary while it happens.
I would do audio in this case only. Greg Gutfeld, your
Well, yeah, nobody needs to look at Trump, and Giuliani's going to be a witness, so it will definitely help people keep their lunch down.
thoughts on this gag?
Oh, God. Finally, some levity. Here come the jokes. Hold on one second. I think we need in here. No, is this here? Yeah. Yeah, that's that'll work. Okay, here we go.
Order attempt or whatever they're calling it here with the president.
Oh, well, it appears that they want to limit Trump's public comments. Isn't that the whole point of the trial? So they're trying to limit his public comments. Maybe they should limit his comments about the comments they want to limit about the comments that.
You got to do it, Hal. You got to keep going. I can't do it, though. This is just, it's so bad. It's like, it's such a, fuck it. All right.
They want to limit about. As for Nancy Pelosi saying this is a waste of time, the Biden impeachment thing, you want to know what a waste of time was? Think about that first impeachment over a phone call. It wasn't just a waste of time. It was about when that waste of time took place. That was during the hearings for COVID. That was in that period of time when we should have been looking at that. Instead, we were looking at this because the media felt that fighting Trump was more important than fighting this weird, strange disease that's coming out and killing a bunch of people. So now they lowered the bar.
Huh? I don't know. Maybe Trump shouldn't have tried to leverage power over another country to start an investigation into his political rival. And maybe if he was doing better in his response to COVID, he wouldn't have even had to do that shit.
Or they got to drink at it. That's the way I say it. So we got to have, they missed the good old days when there wasn't anybody fighting PAC. The good and bad part.
That's right. Back when people weren't fighting PAC.
About Trump is there's no off switch. So you're going to have it no matter what.
Can I mention one thing about this, which is
that was lame. And he spoke. Can I mention real quick that I should be at the Barbie movie right now, and instead I'm sitting next to the least Ken man in the entire area. If Greg wasn't smooth in the front, I would feel like my entire day was wasted.
If DOJ is going to ask for this protective order and the judge is going to say, yeah, Trump, you better respond to this, she should also issue a warning, I think, to the Justice Department that if any of this leaks, like the other leaks, then there should be consequences for the prosecution as well.
If it leaks from the prosecution, what evidence do you have that the leaks have come from them and not from Trump world, who are trying to do it, which is exactly why would they want a fucking gag order on this, essentially, if they're the ones who want the leaks?
100%.
I agree with Dana.
100%. So true. Oh my God. It's, you know what I mean? It's like this thing. I hate my job.
And they will be leaking.
But Jesse.
They will be leaking. What are we talking about? Trump's Depends again? Come on. I did it. I'm not afraid. Yeah, see, Greg, that's how it's done.
Just one thing on the judges giving money to campaigns. That happens on both sides.
It
This is
does.
not. This is. I just want
I'm
to make
not saying
clear.
it doesn't.
Right,
I'm
but
saying
Yeah, what? You don't think we want Eileen Cannon bounced? Tough shit.
the credibility
and it was legal.
of it is
But there are a
right.
lot. Right. But a lot of judges, Democrat and Republican.
Also, one donated to the campaign. Another was literally given their job by the defendant. That doesn't tilt the scales a little.
But the history of DOJ with Trump does not bode well for that content.
Well, that's because of his criminality. It's not their fault. It's like, I mean, ask the history that the Gaudis have had with the New York AG, I suppose, is pretty bad.
Is what my point is.
Well, if he does get the gag order, I'm sure he'll violate it immediately. He will, and he'll dare the judge to do something about it. Up next.
Jesse Waters, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Miller without punchlines. That's what this is. I don't know what you're thinking. Dennis Miller doesn't have any punchlines either. But
next, the liberal media has a new defense for Kamala. If you dare criticize her, you're a racist.
Excuse me, I thought that was our defense the entire time, and the reason to include her. Haven't we been flicking that race card since the very beginning? You fucking tool. Also, no one thinks that. Hi, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Help. I'm home alone again, so I'm going a little overtime tonight, if that's okay. And if people have to bail because it's this asshole, I completely understand. I don't know which one's worse, but they're basically the same person at this point. He's using the Dark Brandon eyes and putting them on Hunter, and then there's money, and it's behind Tucker because I guess Hunter is, grew up rich and I don't know what, farts money. Is that what's happening? Perhaps. Let's see. Anyways, this is Rusty Trombone here. Has a he's got a habit now of putting shit in his titles, like oh shit or oh fuck or whatever, and always putting an asterisk in there so he can get by with it. And it reminds me of that moment in the Rat song Dance Dance Dance, where they sing the line pain in the ass, and because they got away with saying ass on the air, they immediately solo sometimes you're just a pain in the ass, which is literally like we said ass on the radio. Like that's what that solo is. And next time you hear it, you'll know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Just like we said ass. It's so fucking whatever. Anyways, I always thought it was hilarious. But he does this all the time now, and he also does these these jizzbot blow up doll headshots now. Everything is fucking open gullet. I don't get it. But here we go. This is, oh shit, Tucker just destroyed the Bidens. Oh, by the way, Tucker has I was going to say, I think he has I thought he had a YouTube, well, I'll show you this. I thought he had a YouTube channel, and supposedly he's not supposed to have one. He's supposed to, let's see, where is it? It'd be in the history of the shit that I watched today, because God help me. And let's see. Where is he? This is the Hunter Biden-y thing, and then this thing, and this is the shit I watch is so fucking weird. Almost there. Stay on target. It was yesterday. Okay, where is it? Tucker, girl. It's gotta be some sort of Tucker. This is Tucker's stupid face. Where's his stupid face? Where is Tucker's stupid face? It's in here somewhere. I'm scrolling. No, almost. Nope. The fuck? They must have taken it down. That's what it was. Because somebody, I think, was doing a fake Hunter Biden show on YouTube, and I think they were just taking his videos and playing on a loop and calling it the Tucker Carlson channel or some shit like that. Oh, wait, maybe I'll be able to find it that way. The Tucker Carlson channel. There we go. And then it's not gonna be on there. Nope, that's just a Twitter show. Okay, never mind. Okay, I'll see if I can find it. I think they probably took it down because it was fake. Anyways, back to this dipshit. So this is Tucker Carlson destroying the Bidens. Let's see it happen. And apparently he had to outsource the destruction of the Bidens to Tucker Carlson because Rusty Trombone's a fuck up.
Tucker spoke to Devon Archer. He's Hunter Biden's business.
God damn, dude. And I thought my video quality was bad. The hell is this? What do you got, a zit, or you didn't like it? Do you get a smoothing filter? What happened?
His partner. He said Joe Biden knew about Hunter's business deals, and yet Joe Biden said he knew nothing. Corruption is a two-way street, baby. Who should we indict next?
Next. What are you? A New Zealander now?
Hello there, you 6 point.
Oh, this is his interview with Devon Archer. We've already covered this.
5 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage to truth and freedom. Hit the notification bell and subscribe to Hunter Biden's business partner, who claims that Joe Biden knew about Hunter Biden's private business dealings. And you
really? Is that what he knew? He knew about them? He knew that they were private.
You would think that maybe he would know.
I think he got that from the Cosby auction, right? That sweater vest, right? I'm kidding. He didn't buy it from Cosby. Cosby probably gifted it to him.
I mean, let me know in the comments. Do you think he knew? Do you think he...
Fuck off with your... What
curious about this? Are legit text messages? Do you think if you're Hunter Biden...
Do you think you could possibly prop up my fucking channel by blathering gibberish? I'm basically telling the bots what to do so that when they do it, because we pay them to, it'll look like there's real organic reach.
Doing a deal with Ukrainian or Chinese businesses, you're going to mention and leverage your father's position as the VP to...
Excuse me. Quick question, and this one's come up a couple of times, so I think it's a good time to ask it, if I may. Pardon me, ma'am. Sorry, miss. I wouldn't call you ma'am. Do you think that if your father was the vice president of the United States of America, you'd have to tell people? Do you think that if your father was the vice president of the United States of America, especially the vice president to the first black president, so he'd be easy to pick out, instead of two white guys up there, like, which one of those is yours? Pretty sure it's that one. Do you think perhaps people would know? Is that really your fucking dad? You see the Secret Service pin on that guy's jacket so I don't get killed by some maggot lunatic? Yeah. All right. I thought you could buy those. You can.
Make those deals move more smoothly? Let me know in the...
More smoothly? No, as a matter of fact. It fucked them up.
Comments in the chat. Let's have a look at the conversation between Tucker and Devon Archer and his crazy, made-up, moralistic Dickensian name and see what we think together.
Washington's not a money town. Right. People aren't...
Okay, first of all, is he just playing chunks of this? We've already watched
this. Selling access at the end of the day.
Selling access is the business of Washington. This is a city...
For Devon Archer, it is.
City built on lobbying, donations,
infrastructure, the existence of the EPA, the military, the national security of the United States of America, monetary policy, the Supreme Court, the functioning Constitution. What the fuck are you talking about? There's K Street is the lobbying street. Everybody knows K Street is the lobbying street. You know why? Because that's where they go. Because they don't own the fucking town. They're all on K Street.
Finding loopholes,
Finding loopholes. Why would Biden have to find loopholes? Trump just made his own.
Manipulation, knowing the law, manipulating the law,
knowing the law and manipulating it. Do you have to live in D.C.? Do you have to be a lobbyist to know the law and manipulate the law? I don't know. I mean, I obviously, as a multi-millionaire, he clearly knows more people that can, quote unquote, manipulate the law than I do.
A wife who regulates big tech companies and investing in big tech companies, finding ways to do things legally.
Oh, I think that was a Pelosi dig.
Legally that should be illegal.
Oh, you mean like Jared and Ivanka's $2 billion Saudi deal?
That's how I interpret it, and I think that's how most people in Wall Street, whether they admit it or not.
Yeah, in Wall Street. That doesn't mean everybody in D.C. looks at it that way. That's how Wall Street, because that's Wall Street's only reason. That's why, by the way, that's why Donald Trump in his, I only went to D.C. 17 times in my whole life before I became president of the United States, and I never stayed the night, because he flew in for fucking meetings. Because he was just there to manipulate the situation. Dude didn't even stick around to see the fucking museums.
Interpret it.
It's been reported, and you have said that there were occasions when Joe Biden would call in with clients present on a speaker.
No, other way around.
Phone. Right.
No. Again, we went through this before. He would call his son, and his son would put him on speakerphone, and then go, "Hey, Dad, you're on speakerphone."
How many times do you think that happened?
I mean, over a 10-year partnership, I would, the number I'm going with is 20. That's probably the amount that I kind of reckon. Yeah, a lot.
A lot. Maybe 46% of the weeks of the year he would call once. Here's a good idea. How many times did you put anyone on speakerphone in a business meeting? Period. End of story. Anybody, and who are they? If it wasn't your parents saying, "Hi, who's there? Hi, Gary. Hello, Tom. What's going on?" Who'd you put on speakerphone? You and Tucker, too.
So Joe Biden, who's very much a product of Washington, of course, must have known that he was calling in to effectively a business meeting that his son was having. I mean, he must have understood that was kind of what his son was selling.
Well, it's hard for me to speculate on that.
But I guess my question, just to keep it to the facts, Joe Biden, then the sitting vice president, knew that there were Hunter's business associates in the room.
Yeah, I think
after he said, "You're on speaker, Dad,"
I can definitively say at particular dinners or meetings, he knew there were business associates, and
I didn't notice this before. Wait, back up.
At particular dinners or meetings, he knew there were business associates, and
That's an interesting cut. They're good with the timing on the nod.
Particular dinners or meetings, he knew there were business associates, and or if I was there, I was a business associate too.
While Donald Trump fights for his freedom at the...
Oh, God. He's not fighting for his freedom. He's fighting for all freedom.
This time, we're asked and invited to consider what the symbol of Washington represents. We're told it represents...
No, we're not. We don't need that. It's not a religion, fuckhead.
Democracy, integrity, transparency, and ethical clarity. But if, as
have you met Kevin McCarthy?
As our man Devon there alleges, it's simply a town that grants access, a kind of knocking shop, a brothel for access, a place where you lube and grease the wheels of commerce.
For the record, that's how he said the Wall Streeters perceive it. So apparently, you're more concerned about people who are on the receiving end of that greasing than the people who are trying or perceive it as the main purpose. But then, of course, you root for people who would put pedophiles on the missing and exploited children's committee. So, yeah.
Well, what is Washington a symbol of, really? And is what Donald Trump knew or didn't know or deliberately said or didn't deliberately say of less significance than the fact that the whole system is just a corrupt...
Yeah. Let's just, you know what, Your Honor, we recognize that Mr. Provolone, sure, yes, he's we will proffer that he is indeed, if I may use some legal terms, the nail gun mafia hitman that some of these people allege that he is. But really, sir, is the fact that, I'm sorry, ma'am, it is. I'm sorry, ma'am. Your Honor, yes, he did kill on behalf of the Francesconi family on several occasions, but isn't it the back and forth? Isn't it prohibition that yes, it ended 7 decades ago, but the point is, wasn't that the thing that drove him to ultimately a life of crime through generations of family tradition and the like? Isn't it the system of the Italian mafia and the legal system itself finding some sort of issue with killing people with a nail gun and then putting them in a oil drum and dropping them in the Jersey River aqueduct, wherever that was? I don't pretend to know where he put them. I can't, Your Honor, because that would be an admission of guilt on my own. Charlie, make a note. Anyways.
Soft sell for the interests of the powerful. Now, the allegation is that Biden must have known.
I don't know. You know what? You know who you should have on to ask about that? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He hates people who skate on their names and who've lived a life of luxury that they haven't earned.
This revelation contradicts past comments made by the president, who said in 2019 that he never spoke with his son about business dealings.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Speaking to your son while he's having a business meeting and saying, "Hey, son, how you doing? Oh, that's scary. Okay, cool. He's doing what? Oh, good. You guys having fun? How's the fishing down there?" Is not talking to your son about business dealings. It is not. It is not. That is not. This is right here. This revelation contradicts past comments made by the president, who said in 2019 that he never spoke with his son about business dealings. That's no, it doesn't. Period. And therefore, what we have here is Rusty Trombone here. What's the word for it? Lying.
I suppose that is what you would say if you wanted to avoid controversy.
It's been reported, and I know that it is true, that Hunter and his brother were very close to their dad.
Absolutely.
Which I think is great.
Yep.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I've got a lot of kids. I'm very close to them, talk to them every day.
Yeah.
Never called them on speaker during a business meeting.
First of all, the question isn't whether you were on speaker. We talked about this when we first watched this. You don't call somebody on speaker. They put you on speaker. You called someone. They put you on speaker. Do any of your kids do this shit? Hey, Dad, what's going on? Use the speakerphone part of it and talk to you like this in a car? I guarantee at least one of his kids does this. Because it's been all the shit for the last couple of years. Dad, no, we're going to the movies, and then we're doing this thing, and and then and then I'm taking part of your inheritance that you hid in my accounts so that you wouldn't have to pay taxes on it, and I'm investing it in one of Fox's rivals. Yeah, you don't have to tell him. I don't care. Okay, yep. Has that ever happened? Have you ever called your kid and they put you on phone like this? Tucker Carlson. Devin Archer.
That's weird.
Yep. In the rear view, it's an abuse of soft power, I'd say.
An abuse of soft power.
An abuse of soft power.
Okay, that's not a thing.
So that's ultimately what's being alleged here, an abuse of soft power.
Which is not a thing. You know what's an abuse of soft power? China telling you that they only have 4,000 deaths from COVID.
While most of the media's ire and focus is on the Trump indictment, isn't it worth simultaneously considering the impact of these allegations?
No, it is not. Because there are stages of guilt in someone, and everybody's guilty until proven, or innocent until proven otherwise. He's got the presumption of being not guilty. No one's innocent technically. Yeah. But he's got that presumption throughout this part. But there is a difference in the scale of whether a story is a real story or not based on blatant political allegations, blather, a grand jury being convened because a DA or a special counsel has gathered enough evidence to think it's worthwhile, and then that group of human beings seeing the evidence and going, yeah, I think you could charge the fucker.
Particularly when we know that the Hunter Biden laptop story was deliberately kept out of the press and
for 19 hours. And also, the New York Post is the press. You do realize that. It was just kept off of Twitter and Facebook because they tried to drop it as an October surprise. Everybody involved in that shit, including Miranda Devine, had access to that fucking hard drive in fucking February of that year. So why not write the story then? I'll tell you why. Because you would have time to realize it was bullshit. That's what an October surprise is for. You drop a story that will make a big noise, but by the time people figure out it was all a lie, it's too late.
Social media, to a degree, with a collaboration of the CIA. As this story continues to...
The what? Wait.
Social media, to a degree, with a collaboration of the CIA. As this story continues...
What? To a degree with the collaboration of the CIA? You mean does he mean like the CIA, former CIA heads that were like, this sounds like Russian disinformation to me? Which it was.
Continues to unfurl, doesn't it look more and more likely that at its heart is real, legitimate, destabilizing corruption?
No. No, it doesn't. First of all, there's no money that they proved has changed hands. Okay? Period. End of story. That is any meaningful payment to anything that hadn't been arranged beforehand. Like actual, like, we'll set up this business, and if we fuck off, you can keep the money. That's that shit. But getting Shokin fired didn't do damage to the fucking United States of America. CEFC not buying a gas company in fucking Louisiana or Alabama wasn't a negative impact on the United States. None of the behaviors that they're alleging that these payments were for, when they bother to fucking say them, were a negative to the United States. As a matter of fact, there's a single one when they talk about what did Biden do for the money. If China paid him, what did they pay him for? The one area where Comer has tried to offer something up, I mean, I think it was actually Jim Jordan who said it first, was that they changed the name of the China initiative. They didn't shut it down. The investigation continued. Because apparently the CCP was planting agents in universities and businesses in the United States to steal American intellectual property, because people were getting smart and they weren't taking that tech over to China anymore. And so there was an investigation put in place to look into those people and broom them out, because that's a criminal activity. And the only thing that the Biden administration did was not call it the China Initiative anymore, because it sounded fucking racist. They didn't stop doing it. They didn't stop going after CCP agents posing as students and lab assistants. They still went after them. They still have been expelling them. They just didn't call it that because it sounds like an attack on Asian people, especially at a time when Asian people were physically being attacked. There was good Lord. Fucking hell.
Last week, Hunter Biden appeared in court for charges related to tax crimes, and prosecutors alleged that he received over $600,000 from a Chinese Communist Party-backed company. I started a company in 2017 called Hudson West, Your Honor, and my partner was associated with a Chinese energy company called CFC, Hunter Biden
CEFC. I don't know why this is such a problem.
Said. When asked by the judge if he received $664,000 from the Chinese company, Hunter Biden said, "I believe so, yes, Your Honor." However, during a presidential debate in 2020, Joe Biden said, "My son has not made money in terms of this thing about what you are talking about, China."
Right, because he didn't talk to his son about his business, and his son didn't register that money. So Biden only knew about, I mean, honestly, you want him to know about the stuff? Again, if he'd have discussed business with his son, he'd have known about it.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China.
Now, that was a confusing sentence, but I think at its heart was a denial of Hunter Biden making money from relationships with a Chinese commercial entity, which appears to have been the case. During the...
Okay, no. That's not what that's about. That whole comment, fucking out of context. That's specifically from the debates. If you'll recall, let's see. Yeah, here it is. This is what this was about. This was not about $600,000 from a company from his part in a Rosemont Seneca deal to buy this company and set it up or whatever, and them basically saying the deal is off. By the way, and again, that's $600,000 from a deal that collapsed. What Biden was talking about was this. Did former Vice President Joe Biden receive $1.5 billion from China? This is what he was referring to. Do you guys remember this shit? This is when Trump was saying Hunter Biden walked out of China with $1.5 billion. Trump conflated his accusations against Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, railing against Hunter Biden's business dealings, then saying that Joe Biden takes $1.5 billion from China, and he goes on and he allows China to rip us off, he added. So the Bidens got rich while America got robbed. There's no evidence Biden received a large sum of money from China or otherwise gained wealth as a result of his son's business dealings abroad. Trump previously made the $1.5 billion accusation against Hunter Biden. While a conservative author has used the figure, it has not been proven. A lawyer for Hunter Biden, George Maziras, says the investment company in which Hunter Biden has an equity stake was capitalized with a total of about $4.2 million at today's exchange rates, not $1.5 billion. Even this investment was not a direct payment to Hunter Biden. He holds a 10% stake in the firm, Desiree said, and was not and has not made a profit to date. That ended up because that deal fell apart. So he wasn't lying. He was telling the truth.
Money from relationships with about what are you talking about? China. Now
they were talking about one that remember that Hunter could walk in there and just walk out. Who can do that? I talked to a guy. Remember when Trump was talking this shit? Who recalls it in this room? You guys remember this? You remember when Trump would go, I talked to a guy in Wall Street, big guy, very talented, smart, whatever the fuck guy. And that guy, I said, could you walk into, as smart as you are and you have all these connections, could you walk into China and walk out a couple hours later with $1.2 billion, $1.5 billion? They said, that's impossible. He's never heard of anybody doing that. The reason he's never heard of anybody doing that is because nobody ever fucking did that, especially Hunter Biden. Nobody did that. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Pam. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm glad, by the way, welcome trolls. I know we have some trolls here, and it happens anytime we bring up some of this stuff. I suppose they've got to come to the defense of Rusty Trombone and his folks, but maybe you guys can explain it to us. I'm waiting. Where'd the $1.5 billion go? Where did it come from? Oh, yeah, the guy did have tears in his eyes. Tears in his eyes. He said, I could never walk out of there with $1.5 billion. Yeah. Little did we know in America that apparently just being the vice president of the United States, you could scare $1 billion out of China just magically. Too loud? I'm sorry. I get carried away. But we got some trolls in here. And they have to know. They can explain. Corvette maintenance isn't cheap. Touche. That is a really nice car. They have no evidence. Well, yeah, I know that, but I would like to. Here's the thing. What did they get in exchange? Because like I said, the only charge I've heard that's direct, besides Shokin getting fired to benefit Zlochevsky, who had to flee the country after the next prosecutor went after him, and has not been able to, was tried in absentia, and now lives on the run. And apparently, though, he's keeping these recordings he's got of Hunter and Joe for leverage in case he gets in a tight spot, even though he's been on the run for 3.5 fucking years. Yes, I can get Dem Boston Brian on again. I would love to have that happen. Thanks for asking. Us versus them mentality. Maybe so. I don't have to watch CNN anymore. Again, Roman's crimes is endless. The dispatch should issue one election results. Oh, because of Ohio tonight? Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing, it's like, it's going to turn out that Joe Biden's car is made out of paper mache dollar bills. It's $1.5 billion in dollar bills, paper mache. So many layers. It's like the Cheech and Chong van made out of weed. Anyways, I noticed that the trolls really do clam up when I ask them that shit. I don't know why, but at least, hey, trolls, thank you for being here. Thank you for spreading the channel around the web, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't reach the areas that are new to us, honestly. So, meanwhile, the nice thing about doing stuff about this dipshit is that the people that ride to his defense rarely give me shit about my long hair, because they kind of can't, because it's, yeah.
That was a confusing sentence, but I think at its heart was a denial of Hunter Biden making...
Why the fuck did... A confusing sentence? Hey, he said it in one go. What the fuck is with the edits? How high are you?
That was a confusing sentence, but I think at its heart was a denial of Hunter Biden making money from...
Fuck, that was 2 cuts. Do you guys see that?
Sentence, but I think at its heart was a denial of Hunter Biden making money from relationships with a Chinese commercial entity, which appears to have been the case.
Jeez, 3 cuts, 1 sentence.
During the 2020 debate, Trump made numerous comments about Biden's alleged connection to China, including one moment where he said Hunter Biden makes millions of dollars from China.
China ate your lunch, Joe, and no wonder your son goes in and he takes out billions of dollars.
Sorry. Yeah, that's even bigger than the idiocy that he was talking about before. Billions, with multiple B billions. By the way, there is an argument to be made that the Chinese tariff arrangement that Trump made with the Chinese Communist Party was effectively to get first in line for U.S. agricultural goods that they need and they could afford to overpay. So they basically gave him grifter money that he could buy votes in the Midwest.
Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars.
The problem is, with the ongoing condemnation and attacks on Donald Trump, is that he regularly...
Whoa. He regularly, what the fuck? You don't get to just post that and then jump right fucking past it. The fuck? Again, this goes to what I was talking about. During the 2020 debate, Trump made numerous comments about it, including one moment where he said Hunter Biden makes millions of dollars from China. Right. $600,000 for a deal that never happened. That's what's actually on paper. That's what we've seen. That's that. Cut to
dollars from China.
China ate your lunch, Joe, and no wonder your son goes in and he takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars.
The problem is, with the ongoing condemnation and attacks on...
No, the problem is you don't point out that is just fucking nonsense. What Trump just said there is verifiably ludicrous. It's goofy. That's what's weird. What's weird is that he reads those 2 clips from The Nation and goes, oh, that's proof that DC is terrible. And then he cuts to this clip of Trump just like diarrhea, like just blather. And nothing. Just moves on.
Donald Trump is that he regularly is able to point to examples of corruption made by his opponents.
No, he isn't. He just made it up. That's not what happened there.
The only way to ever oppose a figure like Donald Trump is by saying, look, we are not corrupt. What Donald Trump does is corrupt. What we do is by the book, is legit. Is it even worse than that, though? Is it even worse than the Biden administration being corrupt? There is deep systemic corruption.
Okay, fuck off. No, you don't get to cover Donald Trump's corruption by saying the whole system's fucked. This goes back to that kind of mafia defense nonsense. Your Honor, did he really shoot those people or did the system shoot those people? Shut the fuck up. Secondly, if you're going to make the case that Biden's saying, I'm not corrupt, he's corrupt, and that's that, and then Trump's supporters go, yeah, you are, you did this, and this. None of it's true. but they can just say it. So just saying it dirties up the other person. This is what we call bearing false witness in the Christian faith. And this is the part he is wiping his ass with, which is what his gesture here means.
The very conditions that have allowed Trump to rise to this position of prominence continue to be committed, continue to be doubled down.
What are you talking about, dude? The very conditions that allowed Trump to rise are what gave you your show. Why you're on Rumble, why you have the deal you have. How you got to marry Katy Perry, for fuck's sake.
Down on. This won't be sufficiently and significantly reported on. You won't see Joe Biden saying, look, I was wrong. I have been involved in Hunter Biden's business.
Because he wasn't.
Dealings. I have made speaker phone calls during meetings. I was aware.
Who makes speaker phone calls? No one makes speaker phone calls. It wouldn't help. Who gives a... All right. Anybody, chat room. Shit. All right, let's straighten this out. Yeah. Have your parents ever called you on speakerphone? Have you ever gotten a call from your parents by themselves, or maybe they weren't alone, but specifically, if they called you and they put you on speakerphone and you can't, and you're like, Mom, can you pick up the phone? Because it's a little, you just sound far. I know you're vacuuming. Can you please pick up the phone? Right? Okay. How does that help you? If you're in a business meeting and your parents call you and they're like, my dad's on the phone. He'll be with you in a second. Dad, can you pick up he's vacuuming. You hear this? Hold on. Dad, you're on speakerphone. You say hi to everybody. Yeah. No, we're not fishing. I'm at a nightclub right now. That's what that is. Yeah. No, I'm not doing crack. Okay, love you too. Bye. You can't call fucking somebody. If you're on speakerphone, nobody gives a shit. They put you on speakerphone, and you have no control over that. This is so stupid.
Of these deals.
It's just annoying to me. I don't even know what this means something.
They'll just find a way of navigating and negotiating the cracks of this story long enough for us to be deep into the election cycle and for another victory to be gleaned. Without the kind...
Oh, I see. They're just going to dirty up Donald Trump with his indictments and ignore the fact that Biden isn't guilty of anything, just enough to cheat you out of it, out of your vote. What the fuck?
Kind of honesty that dealings of this nature...
No, you're not, Wes. You're not invisible. So please put some pants on.
...appear to demand. The legitimacy of everyone involved is questioned. All of this...
No, it is not. No, it is fucking well... No, it is not. Of all the clips you played, the only liar, specifically, that you can point to in the recordings and the clips that you've played or whatever, the only specific lie is what Trump said. That's it.
This underscores Joe Biden's horrendous judgment in blending his son's business with his duties.
Wait, who owns the Wall Street Journal? First of all, the fact that, our champagne socialist, millionaire Marxist, rusty trombone over here, the fact that he's citing the Wall Street Journal is fucking adorable. But, Rupert Murdoch, that's right.
As vice president. Yeah, you can't blend those duties. Bit of vice presidency, bit of supporting Hunter Biden. Amos.
It's his son. I mean, the emotional support's there. There is tape. There are recordings of Joe Biden talking to Hunter. And mostly it's parental.
Hochstein, a senior energy official in the Obama administration, warned the vice president in 2015 that Russia-backed media were using Hunter's presence on the Burisma board to undermine the U.S. anti-corruption message.
Right, and somehow that didn't save Shokin's job.
Problem with all this corruption, go on, it undermines our anti-corruption message because it's corrupt. Yeah, that is a problem. Just lie.
No, it doesn't. They were saying it looks bad. Doesn't have to be bad.
About it. The following year, a top diplomat in Kiev, George Kent, was even more blunt in a message to state. Ukrainians, Mr. Kent said, heard one message from us and then saw another set of behaviour with the family association with a known corrupt figure whose company was known for not playing by the rules in the oil, gas sector. It's one thing to develop relationships in office that turn into business opportunities later, the way Jared Kushner, Donald
that's totally different.
Trump's son-in-law did in the Middle East. It's another to leverage the office while in office to promote the family business. As Mr. Archer said, the advantage of the
Mr. Archer.
Biden brand is that legally people will be too intimidated to mess with them. This is
right, which is why your money is safe with him as opposed to other people who brought money to Burisma whose money was stolen and taken to Russia.
This is another example of how the condemnation of Trump and Trump affiliates starts to look ridiculous.
No, it doesn't. Because classified documents found at Biden's house, he turns them over and has the FBI gladly, please look for yourself. We will not stand in the way. Please do a comb of the entire area. If you find anything that shouldn't be there, please move it to a security location. Return it where it needs to go. Mike Pence did the exact same fucking thing. What did Trump do? Trump lied to his attorney for 2 fucking weeks and spent those 2 weeks shuffling boxes around, taking classified documents out and hiding them in his fucking desk. That's the difference. There's a difference there. That's a behavioral difference. That's a material difference. Good Lord. Just so fucking lazy. Like, imagine waking up every morning being this dude and having to gargle Trump's balls like this. Just carry him around in your gullet like a goddamn penguin.
When there are comparable events within the Biden administration.
There are not comparable events within, and by the way, allegations are not events.
What there should be, it seems, is a thorough investigation, and perhaps Hunter Biden's trial is precisely that, into what exactly has gone on between the Biden family and all these energy companies. This is no longer a salacious scandal about a man's behavior while under the influence of addiction. This is deep institutional financial corruption.
No, it isn't. It isn't. The United States does not own stake in Burisma, has not picked up stake in oil and gas, hasn't let Russia shut down what was happening in Ukraine so that we could take over, we could sanction Russia later and not have to compete with Ukrainian oil and gas. That would be the smart move.
Involving a vice president who claims that he is the new figurehead for a brave and bold new government. But really, this is the kind of corruption that we're all used to, isn't it?
No. Otherwise, the infrastructure bill would have some sort of like, everybody would have a Halliburton-like contract, like the Cheneys.
Whether or not Joe Biden took a dime from these dealings, this is a form of political corruption, covered up by the press in...
What? This is a form of political corruption. In my heart.
2020, it will be an issue in 2024. Democrats should worry.
According to the Wall Street Journal, which will make it an issue in 2024.
That as more facts emerge about the Biden mix of politics and business, it could help Mr. Trump neutralize his many legal vulnerabilities.
Yeah, except that whole, like, classified documents that may have gotten some of our agents killed being shared willy-nilly in the shitter at Mar-a-Lago.
That's precisely what is happening.
No, it's not precisely what is happening.
Is that the charges, allegations, and attempts to indict Trump seem less significant and legitimate in light of...
No. That's the attempt. That's what Comer and Jim Jordan are trying to do. That's what you're trying to do. That's the purpose of this. This is why every time a grand jury is formed and they go, they filed something, Jack Smith filed something that says they're winding down the grand jury, or the grand jury is being told they're not going to be needed after Monday and they're going to come to their conclusion or whatever. Then Comer and Jim Jordan will call a witness from their list of people that look hinky, that don't have anything to fucking say, but they can make a big stink out of it the same day that it comes out or the day before or after, so they can go, oh, this is just a cover, when they're doing the exact same thing
this information.
Dear Devin, I apologize for not getting a chance to talk to you at the luncheon yesterday. I was having trouble getting away from hosting President Who. I hope I get a chance to see you again soon with Hunter. I hope you enjoyed lunch. Thanks for coming. Sincerely, Joseph R. Biden Jr. P.S. Handwritten, happy you guys are together. This is not a criticism of you. I would think as a business guy, you use every...
This sounds gay. That's what they're really talking
advantage. These are not business guys. This is the Vice President of the United States. He's not allowed to be working on businesses with foreign governments while he's vice president. I don't think.
Not that I know of.
But here he is.
Right.
Amazing.
No, he's not. knowing that his son is Devin Archer is his son's partner, and him being at that luncheon is not the same thing as him being involved in those deals. And he didn't get away. He was like, great to talk to you. Thanks for letting me chew your ear. I was getting sick of dealing with the work that I'm supposed to be doing as vice president. Hope to see you again real soon so we can talk about that thing.
Joe Biden's official position is that...
By the way, do you know how many people get letters like that? Hey, sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you. Sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you. Sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you. Good to see you. Thanks so much. Good to see you. Welcome to the world of politics.
He's had nothing at all to do with Hunter Biden's business dealings. That Hunter Biden is like some sort of plucky street urchin who's made it in the wild world of Ukrainian mineral energies and gas and Chinese business just as a sort of coincidence. Like, by God, I was just being vice president.
No, Devin Archer and the guys at Rosemont Seneca who brought him on were part of that deal. They were the ones who actually instigated it. He was in a company, a group of people. Uh-oh.
Over here.
Wait a second. Might be. Hold on. Is there an issue? Hi. Well, my goodness. Who could possibly be on the floor right now? Who's it? You what? What? What is it? Yeah? What's the matter? You okay? Hi, buddy. What's a chipper doing? What's a chipper to do? Let's let Maddie be. It's like, you're moving towards the door. That's where the food is. Take me. Take me to the food. Take me. Feed me. Maddie's just using the bathroom, silly. He just needs to use the potty. He needs food. That's what this is. Tell you what, look what I made. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. He was not going to leave me alone. He was like, meow, I'm starving to death. You are a mean person. Why am I needed? There we go. Yeah. So, hi, everybody. Hi. You know what? We needed that break because sometimes I get this fool right here. You should look that afraid. It's like, screenshot. What an asshole. I think it's terrible that our government is so corrupt that you can just, make shit up about people and people just believe it because they want to believe that everything around them is garbage and they sell it for a living. It's even, it's even more terrible. It's really terrible. And I think it's part of our system, really. It's the whole thing where, like, people can fly in first class all the time and ignore the quality of the FAA, for example. Or they can, drive across town and never even give a thought to a stop sign or a stop light or any of the bridges that they're on so they don't fall apart or any of that shit, whatever. And then, they can, in the safety of the U.S. military or the legal system of the United States does for their own intellectual property right, they can put copyright on a lot of their things and know that they'll get paid for them and protected from that by the U.S. government with free of fucking charge, especially, you know, and they'll do all that, and then they'll pretend that they don't believe the government works, and they'll sell that to a bunch of like schlubs in the middle of fucking nowhere who are like, yeah, I totally think it's all rigged.
Meanwhile, over there, what's Hunter doing? He's becoming an international business person. So there's no connection between those two facts. Here's Hunter Biden's business partner producing a letter from Joe Biden saying, oh, sorry, I couldn't get away from President who? Because I'm the vice president and I'm probably supposed to be engaged in protecting.
He was. It was just being nice. It's like I couldn't get away. I was with President who? It sounds like a humble brag.
American national security rather than babbling in Hunter.
I'm sorry. Why do you believe that China's a matter of American national security? A meeting with Hu Jintao.
There's business dealings. Can you see that even if they can't demonstrate that Joe Biden financially benefited from this situation, it's pretty plain that he was...
He benefited that his son got his life together and didn't die of a fentanyl overdose, which I find a form of corruption.
Involved. It's pretty plain that at very least there's nepotism. It's pretty plain that at least he was...
No. Nepotism is you get a fucking job because of who your fucking parents are. Or because somebody, I guess you related to somebody who actually gives you the gig specifically. If other people hire you because they think they can get access, it's not the same fucking thing. He didn't make a phone call to get the fucking hire happen. As a matter of fact, Hunter partnered with people his same fucking age. He didn't end up working for John Kerry.
Using his position as vice president to advantage Hunter Biden. In a way, I can get myself into a state where I don't care about that. Where I'm like, oh, well, this is the world, isn't it? I mean, I do stuff for my kids. I'd probably...
Yeah, don't you? What do you do? What do you do? Get them into the best schools, do you? Private school. Don't want them being around, you know, regular people. Ugh.
They offer advantages to my children over some stranger's children. But guess what? I'm not the vice president of the United States, and I'm not denying that that happened. And we're not in the middle of a great and glorious fiasco where Donald Trump is supposed to be indicted.
Wait, what's the great and glorious fiasco? He seems upset. This is a little mad as hippies go. Does anybody notice he seems a little perturbed? Is this hippie perturbed? Is this what hippie perturbed looks like?
One, because of his relationship with Stormy Daniels. Two, because of some financial corruption issues, taking those boxes. Three, because of...
Taking those boxes. That's right, it was just boxes. It wasn't what was in the boxes. What's in the boxes, they couldn't even... It's just the boxes themselves. It's cardboard. It was the great cardboard crime of 2021.
Inciting an insurrection inside his mind. We can prove he did it inside his mind. What I'm saying is that no one has a fortress of moral authority or a...
Moral authority? Yeah, especially you, fuckhead.
Pulpit from which to address us as people and say, listen...
Yeah, I'm not looking to Joe Biden as my moral compass. I'm looking for a competent president. And also, I am expecting that the people who, if they have charges against him, it's nice to have transcripts, tape, something that actually amounts to a fucking crime, like Trump showing classified documents to people writing a book about Mark Meadows. Or Kid fucking Rock.
This guy's corrupt, we're not corrupt, I would never do anything like that, because plainly, that is the business of Washington.
No, plainly it's not. Plainly, that is the illusion you sell.
Washington. That's the way it operates. It's only...
No, it isn't. Just because Devin Archer says so. Devin Archer, okay. Where did the genesis of this repeater phrase throughout this, that Washington is all about the sale of influence and that's what the city is about? And where did he get that from? Where in this video? I mean, he kind of says generally, believes that generally about everything. But where is he getting that repeating phrase? He got it from Devin Archer. He got it from this fucking guy. Hold on, we'll scroll back to his, where is he? Where is his fucking face? There he is. This guy. That guy right there. Devin Archer. He got it from him. Devin Archer saying it's the business of, or he was fed that idea by Tucker Carlson, the way I guess Dan Goldman supposedly fed him the idea that it was the illusion of influence, right? Where did he get him from? He got it from Devin Archer. He's repeating something that Devin Archer asserted with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, who is the heir to the Swanson frozen dinner fortune, is a second-generation rich kid who's never had to work a day in his fucking life. He's a legacy He had a legacy college degree and ended up working at Fox News. He's had a cush job his whole fucking life, and he's never had to, like, the only manual labor he does is when he pretends he's George Bush, doing fake ranch shit. He fishes and he thinks that's work, okay? First of all. Secondly, that's the person who fed this idea. Devin Archer is going to jail for over a year for bilking Native American tribes out of millions of dollars in a scam. And the genesis of the thesis that he is presenting about the U.S. government and our country in general he got that from the heir to the Swanson frozen dinner fortune, who's never had to work a day in his life, and a guy who bilked native tribes out of millions of dollars. That's where that's the goose that laid this golden egg. That he's going to sell to a bunch of fucking people who aren't going to go, well, I mean, that's the kind of thing a guy who would steal money from native tribes would say. Because that's the way he lives. That's that guy's morals.
Only bad when your opponents do it. It's normal, ordinary, and to be accepted.
No, it isn't. And again, Devin Archer's problems are his own.
If it's within the Pelosi family or within the Biden family, presumably within the Clinton and Obama families.
Yeah, just presume it. Yeah, the Obama family. Yeah, just immediately assume that the Obama daughters are would fucking shoot a staked out white leopard on a African safari if they could. They just don't. They got other shit to do because of nepotism. Otherwise, they'd be killing endangered species just like Don and Eric. Where are, honest to God, where are the Obama girls' like $2 billion UAE deal? If you're gonna say it's all the same, then you gotta fucking chart some shit. You don't hear him mention Bush? No, you don't. Yeah, he's not bringing up the Bush girls. He won't. You know why? Because I guess at one point he was hoping to be on The View.
What we're offering you is an alternative vision, a different line of questioning.
Bullshit.
It's the behaviors themselves that are a problem. It's the...
Again, alleged behaviors.
The principles themselves that have gone awry. Forget your relationship with either party or either...
Yeah, because you forget all the details necessary.
Aside and ask yourself, what do you believe in? How should America be run? Is this the kind of president you want?
Yes, I voted for him. I'm going to vote for him again. Yeah. Yes. Our unemployment is so fucking low. We need more foreign workers to even get near the number of job openings that there are. The Fed is fighting inflation because they believe we're close to total employment. They think Jerome Powell thinks that the 3.5% unemployment that we have is willing, that there are no people out there looking for a job that can't find one. There are some people that won't take one, but that's not the same fucking thing. That's where we are. That's not where we were under Trump. We're vaccinated. We're back to work. Everybody, the fucking concerts happening all over the fucking place. Life is back to abnormal. And we have an infrastructure bill. And Title 42 ended, and just like I said it would, the number of border crossings dropped 60%. So yes, I did vote for that, and I will vote for it fucking again. And I'm not looking for this kind of illusion of angelic behavior or some idiotic argument that people do when they know they're the loser in the conversation. We're like, oh, okay, well, I guess you're perfect then? That kind of bullshit. That's what children do.
Be meaningfully better than an alternative candidate.
Yes. And by the way, this is really the pin of this, because at a certain point he's getting he's not going to get Trump on as a guest, but he can get RFK and Marianne on, and has, I think, both of them, and will continue to do. And he knows that they guarantee a certain amount of clicks. So that's what this is about. This is about being a spoiler. This is about, he wants to be kind of the Jill Stein campaign chairman of 2016.
That you are supposed to despise. Or is he, in fact?
First of all, nobody despises alternative candidates. They have no shot. It's a waste of fucking time and energy, especially when the alternative to our party is someone who brags about grabbing women by the pussy and who stores classified documents in the shitter at his rental property where he barges in on weddings and bitches about his legal problems. Yeah, that's terrible. And it's an arc of fucking terrible.
Much worse.
So it's enough to be sitting at a meal at Lake Como with your new Ukrainian friends, and while your dad happens to call, let's put him on speaker.
That would be I think that's enough.
It's possible that Joe Biden thought he was calling someone else. Hello, hello.
Old man joke. That's good. This is the problem that he, as a alleged comedian, has, where he's got to make old fart jokes about him just being doddering and weak or whatever. That's the and again, this is the extent of his comedic ability. This is where the well runs dry.
Where's my pizza? This is Burisma. Okay, but just add pepperoni.
There was
pepperami. Jesus Christ, man! It's your you. All those edits you couldn't roll back and say pepperoni, right?
Hello, where's my pizza? This is Burisma. Okay, but just add pepperoni.
There was.
Fuck. Maybe he had another punchline. You mean pepperoni? Whatever. And they were just like, that's not as funny as it sounding like you can't say pepperoni. Cut.
There's constant pressure to send signals, to leverage all of his, his dad included, but the Biden brand, all of the,
Right. The Biden brand. Trustworthiness, because he's a drug addict and he had issues, and everybody's like, I don't know if this guy's up to the task, but he knows it, but we've got his dad on here. Maybe he'll make a good hostage.
The DC insider and relationships to help Burisma survive. That ability to help.
Oh, by the way, does anybody know if Burisma, quote, survived? Does anybody know if Burisma is a functioning company that is no longer plagued by corruption? Anybody? Just shot in the dark. Anybody? Again, before Hunter Biden, definitely not. After Hunter Biden, how's it doing? Rock solid, actually.
On the geopolitical stage, keep them out of trouble, keep them out of investigations, unfreeze assets.
If that
keep them out of trouble
litany of advantages that come with Hunter Biden's name are to be believed, then it's not an appointment that's based on Hunter Biden's business prowess, instincts and insights. It's a very real set of advantages that come with having Hunter Biden involved in Burisma.
Yes, for Devin Archer and for Hines and for Bulger's kid or whatever the fuck. Yes, for them. Because who the fuck are they? There's been a bunch of investors who've come through Ukraine and these other companies that have brought in, like, we'll take your money to Ukraine, sure, no problem. And off they went, and it vanished into the night, never to be seen again. But if you have the vice president's kid working on your board, it's pretty guaranteed you're not going to disappear with the money. That's an anchor. That's what that is. The money is not going to be stolen. That's the primary reason. As an investor, as an outside investor in Burisma. Because that's what Burisma is. Burisma Holdings is what the name of the company is. Let me show you, if I may, real quick. Let's see. Add here. Yep. Okay. So, Burisma is a holding company for a series of. Let's see, open this fucker up. There we go. And I'm sorry, I always mispronounce the name. That's my fault. It's pronounced
the Burmese executives. So
yeah.
this Burmese, they say pronounce it Burmese.
Oh, do they? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. We've all been fucking it up all this time. But, you know, what the fuck do we know? He's got, what are they called? Yeah.
I know words. I have the best words.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Biromisia.
Uh-huh. Sure. But then, of course...
To me, Corona means Italy.
Yeah. Corona would be the beer, and Verona would be in Italy, but what am I? It's not like the dude has to be president or anything. It's not like you have to look at a map. Okay. Burisma Holdings Limited is a holding company for a group of energy exploration and production companies. It is a holding company for a group of energy exploration and production companies. It is registered in Limassol, Cyprus, but is based in Kiev, Ukraine. Burisma Holdings has operated in the Ukrainian natural gas market since 2002. It was one of the largest private natural gas producers in Ukraine. It's owned by Ukrainian oligarch Mykola Zlovchevsky. It's not anymore, actually. It's been bought. Through his company, Brosity Investments, somebody else runs that now. Burisma's subsidiaries include Esko Pivnich, Pari, Preshna, Ukrainska, Naftogazga, natural gas, Naftogaz, Garant, Cuba Gas, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Founded in 2002, blah, blah, blah. 2012, they start going after the first Ukrainian oil gas company, blah, blah, blah. Became part of the Burisma Group. 2014, Burisma signed a cooperation agreement with Kazmina Gas, the national oil and gas company of Kazakhstan. That is why the deal... that's why the guy was happy in Kazakhstan and gave them cars, because the deal actually went through, because they tried to do shit like that before and the money had been around. 2016, Burisma bought 2 hydraulic fracturing fleets. In 2017, it bought a 3,000 horsepower Surface King manufacturing SK drilling rig for $40 million. It was the most powerful drilling rig in Eastern Europe at the time. And so acquired 70% stake in KUB Gas, blah, blah, blah. One of the founders of the International Forum on Energy Security for the Future, partnered with Electric Marathon in 2017, signed a partnership agreement with the Atlantic Council to promote anti-corruption measures. In 2020, the United States presidential election, the re-election campaign of Trump and his allies, between the claims were first stated by Breitbart News, subsequently formed the basis of a pressure campaign by Trump and associates to push the Ukrainian government to announce the investigation, impeachment, acquittal, blah, blah, blah. Burisma allegations to tarnish the operation. Okay. Burisma's primary operations are in Ukraine, supplemented by activities in Germany, Mexico, Italy, and Kazakhstan. Holds 35 gas production licenses in Ukraine, in the Dnipro-Donetsk, Carpathian, and Azov-Kuban basins. The exploration and production activities are carried out at 8 sites in 5 regions. Burisma also provides natural gas well services, including hydraulic fracturing. You're going to frack, apparently, right? Yeah.
You're going to frack.
Apparently so. Burisma plans to build a liquefied petroleum gas plant in Kharkiv with a capacity of 50,000 tons per year, God willing that the Ukrainians take their country back. That said, it's still in existence. It exists. It is a company that exists, and it was not going to. At one point, its own owner was going to drive it into the ground. Ta-da! House maker sure. Yes. This is the House Parks crime family.
In Ukraine. It's not like, oh, we're bringing Hunter Biden onto the board.
Oh, this is the old, he doesn't know anything about anything shit. Excuse me, all due respect, as any comedian who has made a turn at political punditry or any of this stuff, we get our fair share. I have no doubt that he gets a bunch of this shit, and I'm about to throw some his way, where they go, the fuck do you know about politics? How do you even, how do you even talk about this shit? What do you know? You don't know anything about this shit. Now, I'll stand up my intelligence and my information against anybody's shit any fucking day. Any day. This dickhead has his producer slicing the shit out of this stuff so he just doesn't say too much bullshit too often. But the idea that somehow Hunter Biden, as a lawyer who worked at multiple oil and gas deals before, and is really part of an investment firm. It's not even really about what they invest in. It's just making sure that if those investments are for a certain thing, they get used on those things in particular, and the money doesn't fucking disappear. That's enough. You don't have to be an expert on it. You just have to be an expert in turning a profit, which they were.
Did you know that Joe Biden's actually his dad? It's like, we're getting this guy because Joe Biden's his dad.
Right, because he can't steal our money.
So that we can unfreeze assets, so that we can avoid investigation. This is not an appointment where his relationship...
Get out of trouble was the first one, because apparently bringing Hunter Biden on would get them out of trouble. And it did. They stopped getting in trouble.
...to Joe Biden is inadvertent. His relationship to Joe Biden is essential. That means...
Right. You don't think Don Jr. actually has a fucking brain cell, do you? You think Eric Trump knows anything about construction? Shit his dad doesn't.
The whole system's corrupt, right?
They were not consulting him on like pipeline construction or wellhead design.
No.
We need to construct some.
No, they weren't. The next question in that is, were they asking you? Devin Archer, you were his business partner. You were both there. Were they asking you? What would you tell them if they asked you about well designed? Would you have advised them to buy a 40 million ton fracking machine?
Pipeline. Well, I've constructed this one. It's pretty good. Okay, no, maybe we can use that. Good work.
Okay, the pipe, crack, pipe. Yeah. That's the... You would, when other people shit on Hunter's addictions, it's not surprising. It's lame. It's not surprising. This fucker is in recovery. Like it's just gross.
But also, couldn't you get your dad on the phone? He's already on the phone. Hunter, why are you not speaking? I'm busy.
It was, hiring lobbyists and law firms and various like NGOs to, help clear the path from,
various NGOs, non-governmental organizations. If his vice president dad was solving his fucking problems with a phone call, why is he hiring NGOs? I'm serious. What? Why?
Regulatory roadblocks at the end.
Why would you need NGOs to help you with regulatory roadblocks if your dad is the vice president and all you have to do is put him on speakerphone? Please explain. That's a genuine question. I don't know what the fuck I don't even know how this is a fucking argument.
End of the day.
This is what we all believe, isn't it? With the Melinda Gates Foundation, with the Clinton Foundation.
No, it isn't what we believe. Fuck you. No, I'm not going to assume that everybody who forms a foundation is so that they can have crack and hookers and murder people or fucking disappear people, whatever rando fucking conspiracy you want. No, I don't know Melinda Gates. Neither do you. The idea that this woman is somehow a depopulation scheming lizard woman is fucked up. You don't know anything even close to that, nor would I. And the idea that you would just randomly go, yeah, this bitch probably started this thing so that she could just steal from poor people and kill folks. Why? I'd do it if I had that kind of money. That's what he's thinking. That's what he means. I don't know how. Is anybody in my chat room? And this is a genuine question. This isn't one of. Tell me in the comments below. Is anybody in my chat room? If you had billions of dollars, is there anything that would stop you from forming a foundation just to give some of that money to charity and arrange it so that it went to people and you knew where it was going and it got doled out in a way that it was actually helpful, as opposed to, like, I don't know, flying over, what you thought were impoverished areas and just dumping money out of a helicopter and getting a bunch of fucking people killed? Right? God damn. This is what a fucking pig.
But all of this stuff that's dressed up as philanthropy is either tax evasion and avoidance, or it's ways of legitimizing connections or exerting influence that will later play out financially. Oh,
why? Most of them set this shit up because they'll never... All right, first of all, think what you will about the Clintons, because they're not as rich by any stretch as the Gateses are. But the Bill and Melinda Gates stuff, like, they have more money than they will ever see the end of. No one in their family would ever want for a fucking nickel if they tried to spend. It's like Brewster's Millions every fucking day. So the idea that they're like, someday, man, I'm going to turn this $37 billion I got kicking around that I forgot I had into 39. Like, thank you, Luis. I appreciate that. I would take the job. Thank you.
we think that you guys should use these medications. Buy up a load of stocks in those medications. You don't need to use those anymore. We've seen this again and again.
No, you haven't. That's not what happened at all. This is what we've seen again and again is this motherfucker saying that about another human being. I'm sick of it. I'm fucking tired of it. This nihilistic, like, doom spraying horse shit. Fuck you. Do you know how horrible a person would have to be to engage in that kind of like I mean, it's the same. It's blood libel level shit. Accusing somebody like it's just gross. It's fucking gross. But he just flippantly, can you imagine flippantly saying, that's why you get on a school board. Anybody on the school board's a fucking rapist. All they do is they're all child rapists. Anybody who even runs for school board is a fucking child rapist. Don't even get me started on the principal, the vice principal. Not at my kid's school, of course, but everywhere else. Every fucking where else. Anybody who even wants to get within 10 feet of helping children, it's all just a way to get in there and fuck them. That's what they do. That's all they think about. Or imagine, and then just saying that about somebody, naming them. Apropos of fucking nothing. Nobody you've ever fucking met. And by the way, as much problems I have with Bill Gates and Microsoft in the early days of Apple, where they were using them as effectively an R&D study and just taking the UI that Mac was creating and turning it into Windows and all that kind of shit, and trying to kill Netscape and all that shit, which was bad. The dude has been trying to make up for it ever fucking since. And so the fact that he's even pretending to be a philanthropist is a good sign. It means humanity demands it. It means the rest of us have set up rules going, all right, I don't care if you're really an asshole, but if you at least pretend to be a philanthropist, we'll let you write off some of those taxes. I don't care, because we'd rather those funds go to something good as a society. This motherfucker is saying we're all in it with him. And that ultimately they're just trying to poison, everybody that they've tried to, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has saved from malaria in Africa by genuinely trying to do something about it. Genuinely trying. This motherfucker saying, nah, they're just selling drugs to Africans and letting them die. That's what he's saying. That it's all just a money-making endeavor. And the ability to just fucking flippantly say that shit about another human being. Honest to God, apropos of fucking nothing. Not a stitch of evidence that he's going to pull out and go, because they this and they this and they this.
Again and again. The problem comes when a political figure claims that they're different. The problem comes when there's actual...
Oh, you mean like RFK? Claims they're an outsider even though they're a fucking Kennedy? Or like Jill Stein going to dinner with Vladimir Putin and saying it was nothing? Or Dana Rohrabacher's, it's his wife, right? That's running one of the campaign offices for RFK. Russia's own congressman. Is that where the problem is?
Criminality, tax evasion, tax fraud, payments that are being made plainly for influence rather than expertise.
No, not plainly for that. Again, I would argue that the brand was security. That if you know the problem with investing in the oil and gas sector or investing in Ukraine at all was the amount of corruption that was there that was caused by Russia as they tried to undermine the functioning government so that people would just get tired of their corrupt government and go, you know what, let Russia run it. So when Russia took over, they'd kind of just shrug it off. They'd go, well, yeah, what are they really taking? The whole place fucking sucks. They wouldn't mind. So they would just gut everything, the legal system, the energy sector, the medical system. They would just fuck with everything. And then people come in and sit there and go, all right, the investments are coming in. We're going to sit here until they're spent on what they're supposed to be fucking spent on. And then they do. They actually do. And then the country starts to get better. And 2 presidents later, they have a real election. Poroshenko was like a tossover candidate from, Yanukovych to Zelensky. He was the bridge between the two. He was part Zelensky, part Yanukovych. More Yanukovych at one point because of what he came out of. And Zelensky was 0 Yanukovych. And that's what Russia was trying to stop. That's what they're trying to stop right now.
The reaction to what you've said in public, to what you said to the committee on the Hill, and doubtless to what you've been telling us in this interview, is that there's no corruption here at all. This is totally normal. Joe Biden had no role whatsoever. in his son's business or knowledge of it. But
Right.
How would, I mean, that seems false.
Yeah, I think that's categorically false. I think that he was aware of Hunter's business. He met with Hunter's business partners. You found a letter that illustrates that he knew me.
His son's an addict. He's worried that everyone around him is dealing drugs. When I moved to LA, if I may, a little inside story, if I might. I moved to Los Angeles. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I never have. I'm never going to. I have no interest in drugs. I'm weird enough. I don't need any help being weird. And, I don't ever need to lose my cool or my control or my balance. I'm not interested. Do I judge people who do? No. I drive them home safely and I drop them off. And if I ever am with a woman who's been drinking, I would never sleep with her when she is intoxicated because, quite frankly, if you need a couple of drinks to get ready for this, you're not ready for this magic. You're just not. We'll wait till you sober up. And I don't need you slurring the safe word. I'm just saying. So, but my dad knows this. Both my parents know this. I'm a teetotaler. I've been straight edge my entire life. However, that did not stop my dad during the 90s in particular, because, long hair being what it is. And me, hey, all right. Sorry, the Ohio vote. So my dad, every so often, because he didn't really know what I was doing work-wise, and it was the struggle. Like the 90s were, they sucked. There were a couple of times, and I've told you guys these stories, where career-wise, I just had the fucking rug pulled out from under me, and I was just like obliterated and had to start over. Literally just fuck. Like, this is bad. But I did it, and it paid off. And I learned resilience from it, and I didn't have any help from either of my parents, except for my mom just was emotionally supportive, but she couldn't financially support me. And I just fucking did it. I just went at it. But my dad at one point did not understand what I did or how I made a living or what stand-up paid or how, when I write or whatever, how I would get paid. And I was ghostwriting for a screenwriter at one point, and that paid my bills for a couple of years. I worked for Marianne Williamson for a bit, for a few years. I had this mix of things, and I was, I managed. I kept myself above water, right? But my dad didn't have any awareness of that at all. He had no idea what the fuck I was doing. He doesn't watch TV, he doesn't go to the movies, and he certainly didn't see any of the work that I did. And all during the 90s, what scattered work I was able to do that wasn't just live shows. And there were a few times where he was certain that I was on drugs. He was just, because he doesn't understand me. Like, I'm just that weird. It's just a dad thing. I'm dead serious. My dad, it's just a dad thing. He didn't know what the fuck. I hear his long-haired son with his fucking torn jeans living out in, in LA. And I'm, in the arts, And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're on drugs. I just think he was worried about it. He was worried about it in high school, and I just would laugh right in his face because I'm like, come on. Yeah, it was, what are you, on dope? Yeah, it's exactly that. And so every so often, when we would, we would talk on the phone or something like that, I would intentionally, have my roommate Rob, who directed the game show that I did, Treasure Mall. I rented a room from Rob for years. It was, we shared a house, and I was the computer tech that lived in the house and all this stuff. It was like, hey, we worked out. It was a solid arrangement for both of us, I think. And I would just literally, because he knew who Rob was, and Rob's older, and I would go like, Rob, can you say hi to my dad? Just say, tell him what we're doing, because we'd be sitting there watching the X-Files or some shit, and my dad would call, and I would go, Dad, hey Dad, say hi to Rob. Hi, Rob. Okay, that served twofold. One is, so my dad would know that I wasn't on drugs because he knew Rob, and he knew that I wouldn't do drugs in Rob's presence at the very least, even if he thought I was doing them, which he knew I wasn't, and whatever. And then he'd get like this sense of normalcy, like, you're doing fine. That's without having an addiction known to my parents or anything like that. Like without having the problems that Hunter Biden had. That in and of itself is reason enough for you to go, "Hi, son, how you doing? What's going on? Where are you? What are you doing?" "I'm at a meeting with these guys. I'm having a meeting. It's a business meeting." You'd be like, "Oh, fuck, thank God he's at a business meeting." "Hi, guys, how's it going?" Yeah, how's the weather down there? Good? Yeah, you good? Okay, all right, love you, son. I'll talk to you later. That's why you call your addict son multiple times a day, because you especially after you lost Bo, you don't want to lose the next one. Hal, when are you planning on getting a real job? Never. Yeah, survivor's guilt. Like you can hear in the recording phone calls where he's worried about him. That's why he called. They're a big Catholic family, and he'd already lost a son, and he didn't want to lose another one. Period. End of fucking story. So this idea that either of these things, and I would be curious, and maybe this is a question for Rusty Trombone over there. Has Rusty ever gotten a phone call from his fucking parents or his wife or his kids or any family that he has? They're like, "Hey man, where are you? What are you doing?" And he had to show them where he was. You know, now you would do FaceTime. Now you would go, "Yeah, I'm here. Hey, say hi, everybody." Or send a selfie immediately or do a recorded voicemail. But back then, that's pretty much the limits of what you had available to you. And I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it. Maybe it was his agent. Maybe his manager did it. We had somebody calling him and going, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Because that's what it sounds like to me. And maybe that's the difference in projection. When I project onto that, that's what I would do. If I was worried about my kid and he had those kind of issues, you bet your fucking ass I'd call him morning and night to make sure he woke up that morning and he's going to bed at night in a safe place where he's not high or fucked up or broken or something has gone bad. I want to know before I go to bed that he's still alive. If it got that bad, right? And everybody I know would do that, who has kids especially. So I don't know why you would project anything else onto somebody except for you've never had that experience or you don't give a fuck. Or you think that you just tough love them out of existence. You just go, I have 5 kids. If I ended up with 4, it's fine.
And he's thanking you. He's thanking you for his efforts.
So I think that was, I think
for your efforts. Yeah.
For your efforts. No, he isn't. He's thanking you for being in a partnership with his son, which is a stabilizing influence because you went to Yale on a lacrosse scholarship, which beats the fuck out of being a crack dealer. That's why. That's why he wrote that letter. That's why you would write that letter. And the line about me, I couldn't get away with President Who, is tongue in cheek because that's how actual people talk. Not this fucking this nihilistic horseshit, silver spoon bullshit that this fucker and Rusty Trombone lives through.
I think that that's not fact.
And I would here's the other question. This is the questions they keep missing. Devin Archer, were you ever present when Hunter was high or on drugs? Did you ever do drugs with him? So no, you never did? You don't do drugs? Cool. So he never did drugs when he was around you. So when you were around his son, Joe probably felt safer when you were around and you guys were doing business because you didn't do drugs and you weren't a bad influence in that regard. And that was the important part, was just keeping him fucking alive at that point. Right? Or do you do drugs? Is that what eventually drove you guys apart? Did Hunter get straight and you just kept using? Were you on anything when you built Native American tribes out of millions of dollars? That's the follow-up. And again, I still don't believe that Tucker Carlson has never been on the fucking phone with one of his kids and they've had him on speaker like this in the fucking car. There's no way that's how his kids talk if they bother at all. If they don't just text. They just do this. Guaranteed.
Actually, right.
And by the way, he probably does the same thing to them because he's been on set his whole life and blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't hold the phone up to his ear because he's got an IFB in or any other shit like that.
Whether or not Devon Archer's claims lead to a kind of legal indictment or
they won't.
Proof of corruption.
They don't. Yes, whether or not they lead to any kind of proof of actual corruption, it's great business for me to just shit on the man and remind you that you can't trust anyone but me. And if you're in the middle of a panic attack right now, because you can't imagine a life shittier than Rusty Trombone being the only person in the world you could treat, I do have a meditation program I sell.
In my view, they're not nothing, are they?
They're allegations.
When you consider that so far...
And by the way, if they're not nothing, then the Trump indictments are everything, okay? If allegations are something, then the indictments are fucking everything. Have a goddamn standard.
What Biden spokespeople have offered is, oh, this is just a bunch of kerfuffle and claptrap and balderdash coughed up by the Republican Party as a distraction, nitpicking, just an attempt to bring down a good and honest man of integrity.
Look at the cuts in this shit. Jesus Christ. I'm going to get epilepsy.
Plainly isn't the case. Sooner or later, Biden's going to have to give a speech, isn't he? Where he goes,
no.
Look, I know I said that I had no dealings at all, but I did come on speakerphone. I did have direct dealings with Devon Archer. I did create...
I had direct dealings with him. I wrote him a letter that I was happy he was in business with me, or that you guys were partners or friends, essentially.
At least the impression that I was an ally and supporter of my son that enabled...
Who? What? How dare he? He gave the impression that he was an ally or supporter of his son. What fucking madness is this? I would actually tell you what. If shit starts to come out that all the stuff of the phone calls that Joe are making to Hunter and the picture of them hugging, and what turns out to be CG, and the recordings were faked, and actually they never talk. All the time Hunter was addicted to drugs, he and Jill never fucking talked to him. Fuck him. We don't care. I hope you die, you son of a bitch. Click. If it comes out that way, then we'll talk. Then we'll talk about changing my vote. Okay? Deal? Deal. But the idea that I'm going to be upset because apparently Joe Biden supports his son? To quote Bruce Willis in Hudson Hawk, the fuck is the matter with you?
Him to get jobs with companies he wouldn't otherwise have got, with the assumption that...
What job would that be? Honest to God. If somebody hires you because they like your last name, because they either trust it or they feel safe or they think they're going to get access, that's on them. But if you're going to if you're going to say it's corruption because other people think they're going to get access, which by the way, they never fucking got, then that's on you. That's your ethical weakness.
He could leverage his relationship with me to ensure that meaningful advantages could be leveraged by Burisma when it comes to things like unfreezing assets and avoiding investigation. See?
Yeah, that's not what happened. That's the exact opposite happened. The company went above board. It went from being corrupt because of Russian influence in it to a normal fucking company. And then he left, and it still is. He left it better than he found it. That's how it worked. Hunter Biden left Burisma better than he found it. Period. Fucking hell.
To me, these are pretty significant claims. And
yeah, fine. Tell you what, when you have evidence that he made it worse, and that he wrecked the company and everyone lost their money because he was a drug addict, and he rolled in there and he said, my dad will get me out of this, and he started the corruption, and they were like, thank God you're here. The cops are on their way over. Have your dad call them off. When you get something like that, fucking call me. But this blather Because there is plenty of that around Donald Trump. The conversations between him and Walt Nauta are precisely the kind of corruption you're talking about.
Significant charges, added to which Ukraine finds itself the center of a geopolitical disaster.
Yeah, the only way that Hunter Biden's relationship with Burisma and Joe Biden's anti-corruption push in the country had any effect on Russia attacking Ukraine, the only way it would have had any influence is that Russia was pissed that their corrupt influence was being severed, and they decided to attack and physically try to take the place back because their plan to undermine everything failed miserably because of Joe Biden.
It's costing the American people billions by the day. It seems that what's needed.
No, it isn't. It's been like 16 months, and we're not even at 365 billion. It's been over a year, so no. And most of it's lend-lease, and also, I guess, fuck those people. Is that what you're saying?
Needed is a reckoning, an investigation, and a conversation. Our precious institutions of democracy are being attacked. That's where Hunter Biden gets all of his deals done. That's where Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi never talk to each other about what stocks and shares to trade. When the system.
Okay. I'm over it. Like, this is just like an attack on quote unquote. For the record, I don't know anyone who has any money at all that lives in the San Francisco area, which, I mean, to live in San Francisco, you got to have money anyways, that doesn't know which tech stocks are going to grow. I'm dead serious. Like, if somebody shows up and they're donating and you're like, oh, this person's got some money to throw around, maybe their stock's going to take off. Like, that's all you need. That's not insider trading. That's just seeing them at the right parties. And you're like, okay, this person's got money. That's obviously, they've got funding. It's going to happen. Do your own due diligence. It's not fucking work. They live near Silicon Valley, for fuck's sake. Same thing with Seattle. Ugh. Gross. I went long last night too. I can't. I don't know that okay, this last one's only 3 minutes. Can you make it through it with me? Because this is going to annoy me. This is I think this is this is a TYT clip. You know how sometimes you can tell how people feel about people at their work or people in their thumbnails by which picture they choose? Does anybody get the feeling that people at TYT just either checked out a long time ago, just don't give a fuck, or hate Cenk? Honestly. Dude, get a Canva subscription. Holy shit. Lord almighty. Okay, so this one, this is the whole thing. Cenk, GOP leaders are underestimating Trump. So this is, I suppose, how Trump's going to be the nominee.
So now, why are they all wrong? Why is Murdoch wrong? They're looking for the
have the Murdochs forsaken DeSantis for Glenn Youngkin. Okay.
Candidate that's going to capture the mythical moderate Republican.
No, there's a lot of those. They're now conservative independents. It's a large swath of people. It's why actually Biden's picking up a portion of them, but they would go to somebody like that and, call themselves Republicans again.
Well, we know from 2020 what percentage of the Republican Party that is. 7%. So how is 7% going
Well, no, because you only have Trump and they still voted for him.
To beat 93%.
No. What he's saying is Trump got 93% of the vote, and therefore 7% are the moderate. No, the moderates went ahead and voted for Trump anyways, if they voted at all. The numbers were lower. They literally just Biden swamped him because of the number of registered voters and the Democratic get out the vote, and Trump talking his own voters out of doing it. A lot of the voters that didn't show up for Trump were maggots who just don't trust voting machines.
So, okay, look, you could look at different polls, and that was the breakdown of Republicans voting for Trump in 2020 versus Biden, okay? But let's look at other numbers. But the most...
Yeah, that's because a bunch of Bush Republicans stopped calling themselves Republicans and call themselves independents.
You'll ever see in any poll like, I'm a little uncomfortable with Trump. I would prefer someone that wasn't so vitriolic, etc. It's like 30% of the Republican Party at its maximum. Well, 30% ain't gonna beat 70%. That's why Trump has a massive lead. So there is no magical candidate. They thought DeSantis was the magical candidate. That's why in the beginning, Murdoch and all labors, DeSantis, DeSantis is gonna win, DeSantis. And he comes in and he tries to out-hate Trump, and Trump's like, ding, right? And so now if you bring in Youngkin, I will guarantee it, write it down in stone. He's not gonna do any better than DeSantis or any of these guys. Because DeSantis—
Yeah, that's about divided party though. Because you got a 50-50 split now. Youngkin came in and people believe that he was he won in Virginia, won on a culture issue, won on abortion, all that shit. Yeah, he's not gonna match Trump's numbers because Trump's got 35% lock on it. It's the other way around. It's not that 30% are going the other direction. It's that Trump has got 37% of the entire party and the rest of them are like anybody but this motherfucker.
This is trying to go to the right of Donald Trump. There's no space to the right of Donald Trump. No.
Sure there is. Yeah, there is. He signed the First Step Act because he was trying to go to the left of Biden on crime, because he thought he could go against the crime bill, which is becoming more popular because of rising crime post-COVID. And you could go to the right of him on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. I mean, Mike Lee fucking campaigned on it in quiet, so all these Republicans, the donor class especially, are applauding it. And there's a shit ton of people who go, well, you got to have Social Security on the chopping block. Republicans have always been for cutting entitlements. That would be to the right of Donald Trump. He literally, to go after DeSantis, he moved to the left of DeSantis as a way of securing old folks in fucking Florida. He's fighting for voters in Florida. That's one of his advisors, or his own fucking stupid idea. He thought, I'll go to the left of DeSantis on this shit. With the rest of the party, there's a bunch of people that would go to the right and go, we absolutely have to cut Social Security. Fucking Vivek, who he also likes, is for cutting Social Security.
Done. But if you go to the left of Donald Trump, then Republicans hate you. So it's an unwinnable race. Trump is their messiah. The only way Trump loses is that the Republican voters see that he's about to go to jail and they're like, this is gonna be weird. But even that's helping him. So he's like
No, half of his voters said that the people who've leaned Trump, half of them would actually vote for somebody else. Like, they won't vote for him if he's a felon.
As we're right back to 2015, 2016.
No, we're not. You know why? Because we don't have this asshole and everybody on his network telling everybody that Hillary and Trump, it's a wash. I hope.
He's that monster in Star Trek. When you fire the phasers at him,
okay,
he doesn't get weaker, he gets stronger.
Yeah, I must have missed that episode. When you fire the phasers at him, he gets stronger. That was rare monster. No. What are you saying? We shouldn't. What phasers? Language, making fun of him, attacking him, whatever. Or if Republicans attack him, he just gets stronger. Is he telling Chris Christie to shut up? This is a shit analogy.
So now with this giant lead that he has, somehow Trump has to blow himself up because these guys cannot beat him. And Youngkin is a false hope. And the fact that they can't see that is stunning.
Yeah, and look, I think that you're focusing too much on ideology and not enough on some of the other characteristics that speak to voters, right? The same characteristics that led to Republican voters supporting George W. Bush as the guy they'd like to have a beer with. Ron DeSantis.
Okay, first of all, DeSantis is a douchebag, but Trump doesn't even drink. And I guess, what do they want to have, a fucking fish delight with him? They're all dweebs.
DeSantis has no personality.
Yeah, that's Trump's sales pitch as well. He has one, it's just terrible.
I would venture to say that Glenn Youngkin is riddled with the same issue.
All politicians are.
Yeah, all politicians except for, unfortunately, someone like Donald Trump.
Oh, totally,
who eats it. He loves to be in the public, in the limelight. He loves.
Used to. Are we just going to pretend that he hasn't lost a step? Is that what we're doing? That he's the same Donald Trump from 2016, that the entire time it's just been...
I know words. I have the best words. Combat infantrymen.
Yeah, that he's just great.
Despite these obstacles, Karen, sanctuary. I think I'm much more humble than you would understand. Yesterday is a hard word for me. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of dust. It's defiled, right? See, I can't see it very well. We are going to be a country no more. I actually think it will not. It will be a country no more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, you were saying something about magic personality.
To do his rallies. He's a charismatic guy.
No. No. I mean, he had the illusion of charisma, I suppose, in 2015, 2016. And compared to what DeSantis and his weird mouth-wiping pudding thing, by comparison, sure. But not in general. Shit, the Dark Brandon shit, it is eating Trump's online presence alive in the toss-ups.
And he knows how to market himself.
Mm-hmm. Really, though? Really? He really does. He really knows.
Free health care for illegal. Look.
Yeah.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
I don't read, obviously.
Yeah. Master media manipulator. Can we just call it what it is? Trump did not masterfully control the media last time. He pulled the serial killer trick. He snuck up on civilized people while they weren't looking and attacked. That didn't happen twice. After that, you lock your doors and you're like, fuck this dude. He's not getting back in here. He's not getting in my house. He got away with this because everybody was like, oh my God, this guy will say anything. It's fabulous television. You know, and everybody, now they're like, a court called him a rapist. That's...
In ways that I think other Republican candidates have really failed at.
There are only two people in almost my entire life of covering politics who have not seemed like fake, plastic, robotic politicians. Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. And yet, they both amounted to the same thing. No offense, Bernie's a decent guy, but he changed his position on guns to maintain to become whatever the mayor of his city in Vermont before he became a senator, and he ran as he was an independent. He ran as a Democrat and then went back to being an independent. He borrowed the party. I don't have a super PAC, but I'm going to use the Democrat, their party that they set up as a super PAC, and then go back to it after I lose because fuck them, and then try it again. Get the fuck out of here. That's very politician. And Trump was just talking out of his ass. I know all the best people, all the best words. I know everything. I know all about the stuff. I'm going to promise is kept. First day, it would be so quick. It's the same politician bullshit. He didn't sound like a politician because he was unpolished and a dickhead, but it was the same lies that you accuse everybody else of. The difference is that you think both of these, God damn it, both of them are anti-Biden, period. Just dicks about it. And we're against Hillary for the same fucking reasons. And yet, Joe Biden is going to get lead pipes taken out of the U.S. water supply. Fucking period, end of story. That in and of itself will save so many fucking lives over time and the health and welfare of our children that all the other stuff pales in comparison. Beyond salvaging the fucking economy and making it normal and growing the middle class and being pro-union and all the stuff that you would actually like. And they're like, he's as a fucking politician. You know who comes across as real is the guy who's using someone else's party to run. And the guy who's said it just literally said it was locker room talk when I talk about sexually assaulting women. Get the fuck out of here.
It's true.
One of them absolutely means it when he...
I don't know. I almost like Anna better with Mike Pence's head. This is the weirdest paper doll I've ever seen.
Says he's looking out for the average American, and the other one doesn't mean it at all. He's just looking out for himself. But they both look authentic, right?
No, they don't. One said what you wanted to hear and didn't win, so he didn't have to prove that he couldn't. And so you can live with the mythology that he was always going to get it done. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is getting a lot of it done, and you're like, fuck that guy. And Donald Trump was bullshitting the entire time. You just liked his bullshit. You just were impressed. Oh my God, look at how he dangles these fucking dickheads on the end of his finger. This is crazy.
Bernie actually is authentic, and
no, he isn't. If he was authentic, he would have, when he ran as a Democrat, he should have stayed a fucking Democrat, and he would have run as a Democrat. He ran as an independent because he knew in Vermont he had to. It's politics. He's not a bad guy. But don't pretend that that he doesn't have a Machiavellian streak, or he wouldn't have run for fucking president in the first place. Get out of here. You recognize the sound coming out of those guys' mouths as real, and you reject the sound coming out of other people's mouths as, as fake. But your judgment, especially around 2016, where you're like, fuck Hillary, fuck, she's a monster. She's a fucking warmongering monster, fucking monster. And then 2 weeks before the election, fuck, Trump might win. You should vote for her. And everybody in the TYT audience was like, fuck you, or okay. But that, Jesus Christ.
of course, that's why the Democratic leadership had to kill off his political chances.
No, they didn't kill off his fucking political chances. Bernie lost fair and square. Bernie's entire message has a 30% ceiling nationwide. End of fucking story. He lost fair and square twice. And the only reason it was closer with Hillary than it was with Biden is because she's a woman. He benefited from the sexism in the attacks on Hillary, because the same attacks were done on Biden. They just didn't land because Biden was a man. And again, Bernie's not a bad guy, but can we not pretend he's not a fucking politician? He's been in office for a long fucking time, and he's bounced back and forth between party identification because he can. I'm not shitting on the guy's ideas. And here's the thing. This is the lesson that they should learn from Bernie Sanders, which is Bernie does what he has to do to stay elected so that he can get done the stuff he cares about. Bernie would not even pass his own purity test. The people that are around him that hold that standard, if they were like, you got to use these certain words, you got to stick to this certain messaging, he didn't do that. He's to the right of Hillary on guns because he had to be because of Vermont. But if he wasn't and he didn't get elected in Vermont, we wouldn't have had him in the Senate. He wouldn't have been able to run for the presidency, and he wouldn't have had the impact on the race that he had. See what I mean? He played dirty to some degree. He didn't run as a fucking, angel-eyed innocent. He knew what the fuck he was doing. And if he hadn't done it that way, he would have never even gotten close to it. If he'd have tried to run as an independent, it never would have gone anywhere. He used the Democratic Party because that was the closest thing that he could cling to get some nationwide groundswell. But there was a ceiling on the acceptance of his ideas. Because socialism and what have you, the buzzwords will tamp down a bunch of voters. Period, end of story. That's just how it works. But he lost fair and square. He didn't get cheated. He didn't get nobody swept his fucking knee. He lost. And there's no shame in that. The difference is that in the Democratic Party, they absorbed some of what he was talking about. And especially under Biden, they're like, hey, I like a lot of what you're talking about. I don't know that I think you were full of shit when you said you could actually get it done. But we'll try and get some of it done. Let's go. What do you think? What are our plans? Let's get your people and my people together. Let's make it happen. That's what Biden actually fucking did. He's a good man. And he tried to give Bernie the benefit of the fucking doubt. A benefit, by the way, that Bernie did not give to the Democratic establishment. So the idea that he's some sort of like this mythological, 1960s radical running for office and getting close to it is arguably the same mythology that RFK Jr. is using to get close. But it's not who Bernie is. And Bernie cares about what he says. He really does. I don't like the tactics that his campaign went through. I don't like the mythology that was built up around him that made people think that he lost because he was kneecapped and not because he just reached the limit of the acceptability of his message as he made it to the rest of the country. That I have a problem with. But I don't have a problem with Bernie's character and what he's trying to accomplish. And Biden is getting as much of Bernie's ideas that could be accomplished. He was kneecapped. Do you not know about the super? I know about the super delegates. He wasn't kneecapped. They knew the polls. They were he was gonna lose nationwide. Period. End of story. I got news for you. The super delegates were not the reason why. Hillary won on regular delegates already. I'm sorry. It's a myth. It is a myth. It's not the point. The point is, what are the ideas you want? What do you want to accomplish? What are the steps taken to get those things done? If you want to get to universal health care, for example, in the United States, where everybody has coverage and there's a single payer system, the all or nothing approach does not work. That's what they've been selling. That's what TYT's been selling for years. That's what Bernie was talking about. And the voters across the board rejected it. They keep rejecting it. But they do like the incremental steps. They hated Obamacare till they liked Obamacare. They will hate the public option until they love the public option. That's how it's going to work. And then at some point, they're going to go, you know what? We have the means and wherewithal where the tax burden is less than the actual cost nationwide. We should just have a national healthcare system. And we can work that out. Either a federal one that supplements state ones or state ones and you can buy across state lines. That's always been my plan. Single payers that you can buy into in any state. They all run them independently. Like you could buy into the Massachusetts one, Washington State, California, something like that. That's how it works. So the idea that somehow he was kneecapped made cost Hillary the Electoral College. Period. End of story. And they played a huge part in that. And unrepentantly so, as you can see. If you care about the actual things, you care about your health, you eat right, you exercise every day. You don't wait and go, I was going to eat shit and give the finger to the gym till they come up with a magic pill that reverses aging. That's not how you live. And that's what they're selling. That's what that myth sells. You like what Bernie was for? You like what Bernie wanted? You chip away at it. You make sure you're always making positive change towards it. That's what I think. That's why I vote the way I vote. And by the way, every time that I voted that way, and in the case of Obama and then now Biden, certainly Clinton, we moved in that direction. And anytime anybody was like, I don't know, I like the guy I could have a beer with, or this sounds like bullshit, or I don't know, I don't like, Al Gore's kind of wooden for me, and I don't know if he's really committed to whatever. We got set back a decade. So there. Other than that, I have no opinion. Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Check your voters registration, vote.org, absolutely. That's that. And you're not going to move me on this, by the way. You know why? You know why? I know some of you know why, but you know why? You know why? Hold on. Because I actually give a shit. I'm not, like, the nice thing about having another career besides this show, and I love doing the show, and I plan on keeping on doing it, don't panic, but that I have options in my life is that I don't need to go, oh shit, if I don't scare these motherfuckers into thinking if they don't tune into my show, the world's going to collapse. I'm not going to make a living. I have other ways. So if at some point that we run out of bad news or awful shit to make fun of, I'll go do something else. They can't. Tucker can't. Russell's not going to go back to any kind of meaningful acting or comedy career after this. He's going to open his own version of Scientology. Uh, 10 p.m. in Ohio, 81% in, 54%, 43%. Yes. Okay, we'll do this. Yeah, I got no grift. I'll go do something else. I like that this, and the only value this show provides, yay, Ohio. The only, I'll bring up see if we can get some, and maybe CNN has the Ohio stuff in it. So we can look at it. There we go. Whoops, hold on. Get this out of here. Close this window. Close. I don't want it to. Close that window. Get out of here. There you go. So this is really great, and it makes sense because it was gonna lose, but it's great, and this is how the vote is going to go in 2024 as well. I want to remind you, because people are motivated by the fact that they recognize that their rights are being chipped away at by two groups. One, the Republicans, who want a supreme executive power under somebody like Donald Trump, and they're basically monarchists, and they've been trying this for years through a myriad of options, through the creation of a supreme executive power of the presidency and that kind of stuff, and like the transmutation of of executive orders into legal status, as same as a bill, or line item vetoes and that kind of shit. So the president can just kind of, no matter what the Congress or the Senate says, they can just fucking scratch shit out that they don't like and keep whatever, and basically single line veto shit without having to kick everything back, so that nobody can have a full say, and nobody can argue anything in good faith in the outside party to pass a bill at all, because they just know the president will just scratch out anything that their party doesn't want and that kind of stuff. That's what the Republicans are shooting for. And then there's another group of people who want you terrified, broken, and dealing in politics for the rest of your fucking life, shattered and with every normal right that you can expect to have, always on the precipice of being taken away by a shrug. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I don't know if I feel like voting is kind of a thing, because everybody's bad. I mean, they're just equally as bad. The lady is just as bad as the guy who sexually assaults ladies. I mean, it's the same. So what's the difference? And I don't even like how that crowd. There's no difference between them and the Trumpers and the supreme executive power Republicans and the maggots, because the result is the same. The goal is the same. Susan Sarandon's whole thing was, maybe we need a Trump so that the system can crash. Well, it's easy to say that when you're on top of the fucking bridge and you're not on the underpass. I have congratulations. We're gonna, yeah. What? The world's not gonna. It isn't gonna end. I'm sorry. It is not going to end. Stage rights. That's right. That's correct. Non-voter sucks too. Yes, after Karen Bass. Yes. I'm just saying that this is the essence of our motto here. Well, we have many mottos. Safety third, very important. But the biggest one being choose less evil. Because in a situation where you've got 5 choices, but it's going to be between 2, and you're like, the 2, it's like a lesser of 2 evils, then choose less evil. It's that fucking simple. One day, dumb motherfuckers, if you work hard enough and long enough, one of those people down at the bottom with the other ideas, their ideas won't seem as crazy, because the less evil people that you've been working with for a long time have brought you closer to your actual goal. So the outsider doesn't have that much. They don't have to rearrange the entire fucking system from scratch, because we've gotten it there. Other than that, I have no opinion. I love you guys. That's it. And the thing we have to be the most concerned about, I think, is the kidney. Oh, and Bye.